Let's go. Halo semuanya. Balik bersama gue Magiru Illuvium. Kalian bisa panggil aku Mayal. Let's go. Kita nonton bareng. LOL bro. Gila. T1. 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 Sebenarnya pengen nonton dia doang sih. Akhirnya openingnya doang. Pengen nonton Hardsill sama ini. Sama New Jeans. Pengen nonton itu aja doang sih sebenarnya. Tapi kita nonton ini. Nonton dulu apa? Mainnya. Astaga susah banget ngomongnya. Kita nonton mainnya juga. Soalnya ada satu nih favorit gue, si Faker dari T1. Jelas lah, harus. Kayaknya ini kegedean deh. Something. Nah. Oh, ini suaranya belum masuk ya. Nah. Ada suaranya nggak? Ada ya? Maksudnya ada sih. Ya gue baru pertama kali main awal nih. Langsung nonton ini ya. Gara-gara si Faker itu. Si Faker tuh. Gila jago banget. Mohon? BTW jangan lupa makan siang guys. Sambil ngemil guys.
LPL versus LCK, and it was T1 really up against all of the LPL throughout this tournament, and very much weathering the storm because they are still here. And the last LPL team standing on the other side, Weibo, Kobe.
And I feel like T1 have done more than just weather the storm. They have
WBG nggak tahu sih itu mana. Itu hanya T1 doang. Dota juga T1 gue sebenarnya. Karena kebanyakan dari Indo kalau Dota. Man.
Sometimes you can trip over. I was gonna say, but no one expected Weibo to be the ones in this position. It was like, look, it's gotta be LNG. I mean, even coming into
Meskipun di Dota gak pernah menang ya, T1. Tapi dia masuk gila. Indo Pride. Indo Pride.
For LCK versus LPL, of course, they are our two best regions, so they are going to fight a lot. So let's take a look at the history between them, also in terms of the world's title conquered, and it just emphasizes how important this is for their respective fan bases, right? Because getting World Tour is nothing bigger than that, and the LPL and the LCK want it for themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, look how close it is, too. There's been so much talk about T1 not losing to LPL at Worlds, but overall, LCK and LPL still very close at 10 and 6 there over the course of all the years. And of course, T1 have also dropped series that were not at Worlds. So there definitely is an opening.
Yeah, and I think like because obviously the South Korean teams were default the best in the world for so long. And I think the big thing that I can say about, regardless of whether it's an LPL or LCK team, it's the team that takes hold of the meta the best.
Yeah. And we'll see, of course, today. But
Which thus far has been T1.
Has been, I was going to say, but I didn't want to jinx it.
And Weibo, honestly.
Yeah. And sometimes it's turned on a dime in the final. Let's see. What also turned on a dime is last week when Faker engaged on Ruler, Kobe. It was immediately one of the best plays we've seen at Worlds, so we want to see it again.
Yeah, honestly, for me, this is up there with
Faker itu terkenal banget ya, harus.
And they released the communications for
Gak kenapa.
Well, I definitely give you some advice to go look at it because Faker starts calling for this play 30 seconds ahead of time. It really does give you some insight into the genius of this player. He knows that because they have desynced waves with mid and bottom, he clears the bottom wave, starts
Gak kelihatan mobnya. Gak kelihatan.
because he knows even if there's a teleport from 369 to catch up on this play, the channel time for a teleport is 4 seconds, and it'll have that small 4-second window of a 5v4 advantage to be able to make good. This is the big
Faker
initiator.
tuh.
Faker makes the engage.
Rusuh tuh.
He first goes for the auto to try and mind game ruler here, then prediction flashes and gets his ultimate out before ruler even flashes, so he's ready there to catch him. Simultaneously though, the other unsung heroes of this play are the T1 members following up on it. Owner comes here to catch the play, and then Zeus brings the extra damage to kill the first carry. Once they catch ruler, beautiful stuff there, take him down. You also have to shout out Zeus for then sectioning off the other.
Beda ya cara gameplay di LOL, Dota, ML, beda-beda ternyata ya. Kirain tuh bakal sama gitu loh. Ternyata beda-beda. Kayak kalau LOL tuh kayak harus main timing gitu loh. Meskipun kalah level, kalah ini, tapi item berpengaruh banget ya LOL. BTW. Itemnya ngaruh banget. Kayak dari damage. Item satu core item jadi aja, wah langsung OP tuh. Langsung damage-nya tuh berubah banget. Beda jauh. Kalau war harus timing. Ya maksudnya semua game juga harus timing sih. Tapi LOL tuh harus bener-bener timing, gak bisa asal war. Kalau kayak ML kan asal war pun bisa diadu gitu, diaduin gitu. Dota juga gitu. Tapi LOL kayak beda anjir. Susah banget. Mau buy one aja sama musuh susah gitu. Ya nggak bisa gitu. Kecuali lu menang item. Kalau lu menang item lu bisa buy one di early game lah. Lu menang item. Lawan jungle musuh lu bisa anjir. Asal lu menang item. Faker tuh.
With this play because the comms were released, he starts calling it so early and all of the T1 members play it so well.
Hero pertama gue di LOL Yone, gara-gara si Faker ini. Gak tau kenapa tiba-tiba lagi makan terus dari YouTube lewat kan. Tiba-tiba dia ada gitu, muncul di beranda YouTube gue. Terus gue lihat aja daripada gabut, bingung sambil makan. Oh, keren juga nih. Gue nyoba main lah. Pakai One dia. Coba main. Ternyata seru juga. Anjir gitu. Kayak gitu warnanya. Dari timing langsung bisa abis semua langsung gitu. Menghilang. Ya, warnya tuh LOL lebih ke timing dah. Jarang gitu ada yang war adu-aduan gitu. Yang gue lihat ya, mereka warnya tuh main timing gitu. Ini sekali war langsung hilang dan beberapa detik hilang. Nggak adu-aduan satu-satu terus 4 lawan berapa ntar temannya datang gitu. Enggak. Mereka tuh bareng-bareng semua. Ada musuh langsung digas gitu. Saya musuhnya kita berlima nih mau war. Tuh kayak gitu tuh. Tuh, mereka dari samping gitu loh. Mereka udah siap buat war. Mereka langsung masuk semua. Nggak satu-satu. Ya emang mainnya timing gitu. Anjir. Gue rada bingung sih waktu itu. Pertama kali main. Tapi ya ujungnya seru. Apalagi skin baru yang sekarang tuh hardstyle. Wah ajar. Gue pengen banget.
Everybody knows that play. 2,000 gold behind and they make a miracle.
I think the problem is that most people know all of these, especially this one. Well, maybe if you started watching more recently, you don't know this one, but it is a 1v1 that has history the moment
man.
it was played. And it's again a little KT moment.
Yeah, I know. This is
Oh, itu awal dulu ya?
actually
Apa
when I
gimana?
was like just a baby KT.
Oh, baru lihat tuh.
When KT Bullets faced them,
Who's
and
fast?
then they didn't end up making worlds. There's a joke in the community that Ryu is still dying to this day
Yeah.
because of how many times people watch this play over and over again. I feel like you have to put it for
I
the
mean, it's-
special category for itself,
Shout
which
out.
is Doa's call.
Yep.
What
Sick
was
one.
that?
That's true.
Goosebumps every time I see that play. It's
Yes.
so insane.
Special category just for him. Next up, I wonder what we've got, if it's going to be one of those kind of tournament turnarounds or big turnarounds, or what
Oh,
do we
hey,
got?
it's against
Oh.
KT again.
Oh.
I remember this one because it's very, very old. And at the time,
Oof.
people were so surprised. They're like, oh my God, look at how he gets around the Cassiopeia ultimate. Faker is pretty famous for an interview after this saying,
Beda banget ya.
"Crazy, everybody should
Emang
be able to do that." But it wasn't
si ability-ability-nya tuh dikeluarin full gitu.
Caused a lot more players to be
Halo
What's
Black.
the next move that your opponent
Mau
is gonna
datang.
do, and then preemptively be able to act for it and dodge for it. So that one to me is a play that influenced a lot of other players.
Where does it go then?
Where are we feeling?
I mean, legendary. We got a
Legendary,
spot
okay.
open.
Let's go. There we go. Legendary.
Yeah. I mean, so far what this has shown also is just that he's so influential, and
Yeah.
not just like today filling up this stadium, of course, together with T1 and Weibo, but the fact that he's made such an impression on our sport overall in and outside of
Oh,
it.
halo,
And
Black.
that's why I wanted to bring up this next
Selamat
play
datang.
that we can rank. It's a sick one, and it's one of my absolute favorites.
I know what's coming.
No way.
Oh, Faker.
Game.
Let's go.
Lah, Bang boleh kayak gitu.
That's really well.
I
What
feel
a
like I
hero.
don't see that anymore.
Yeah.
Do a barrel roll.
I mean, we might have it today.
Yeah,
We'll
we
wait and see.
might.
Gimana harinya, Black?
I'm putting this legendary. I think that was such a. I mean, the
It's fun.
execution. You know, defining the meta when it comes to onstage moments like this. Has to
Risking
just go to
life and limb.
Yeah.
Udah makan belum?
Doing his own stunts also.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
And also, to be honest, we could have made a lot more of these, right? And that is the key that we're also going to get at throughout this countdown, I think, as we count down to this epic moment, possibly for T1. And I think we have another graphic, a surprise graphic. Okay.
Yeah.
We have another replay, one that we haven't rehearsed.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we can bring it up. We can bring it up because.
Baik, baru ngemil doang sih. Kenapa gak makan? Udah siang ini. Kenapa gak makan?
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Buset, 10 tahun deh.
Said this so much.
Host.
You inspire me so much.
Thank
It's amazing
you.
to be on.
Host dia ya buset.
Me every day. Kobe, you've been there
10 tahun.
years as well. Thank you so much.
Let's hear it.
And now let's move on. Luckily,
Malas lah. Kebiasaan malas. Dasar kebo. Kebo.
Caster Dream, thank you so much for joining me today on Finals
Platy.
Day. It's an absolute honor as you represent esports in Korea. You've been following esports for such a long time, and actually this is something that transpired last week.
Mending Caster.
After T1 qualified, the emotions that you felt. Talk me through what you were feeling at that moment and what it meant to you to see T1 making to finals.
일단 드레스 코드가 다른데
Kebo dari tadi gak turu loh.
제가 원래는
Lah pemalas, Kebo juga pemalas.
했는데
Iya gak? Bener gak guys?
오프닝 세레머니하기
Kebo juga pemalas.
이게 스포일러가 될 것 같아서 옷을 그냥 평상 옷을 입었습니다. 이해해 주시기 바랍니다.
Haha.
그 지난 4강 경기 이후에 제가
Aigo.
방송으로 몰래 나갔어요. PD가 저한테 허락 받고 나간 게
Aigo,
아니라
Aigo.
본인 마음대로 그냥 방송이 됐는데
진짜?
방송이 북받쳤던
Ya udah iya. Ya udah iya.
펼쳐진 LCK에서
아, 진짜?
한 팀도 오르면 한 팀도 못 오르면 한 팀도 4강에 진출하지 못하면 우리 LCK가 지난 1년 동안에 해봤던 것이 무시되고 평가절하되고 그리고 회되기 때문입니다. 저희가 스프링 서머 정말 잘 치렀고 아시안 게임에서도 금메달도 땄고 그리고 스위스 스테이지에서 경기를 잘 풀어갔거든요. 하지만
gue bisanya 진짜?
평가가 나빠질 수밖에
Aigo.
없어요. T1이
Sikya.
와, 분위기 보십시오.
자기야.
완전 달라졌지 않습니까? 그래서 이런 분위기가 됐기 때문에 그런 분위기가 될 것 같아서 저도 막 감동에 북받쳐서 뭐 눈물을 흘리게 되고 그랬습니다.
It is really important to have an LCK team in finals here in Korea, both for you as an LCK representative, but also for the Korean fans that come and watch today. when it comes to the storyline,
Saya ngobrol sama dia, ngerti gak sih dia ngomong apa?
going for his fourth title, playing for the first time
Kalau
in
gak ngerti
Korea.
parah banget sih.
And the Shy
Iya kan?
also going for his second
Kayak dia
title in Korea
nge-
after he won in the first time in 2018. Tell me about
wawancarain
the
gitu.
what they
Tapi si itunya pakai bahasa Korea.
이번은 여러 가지 악재가 정말
야.
많았었거든요. 일단 페이커가
Ya ngerti gak sih itu yang kayak itu?
페이커가 없었을 때 다른 팀원들의 성적은 1승 7패 그리고 LPL이 뭐 우승한다 이런 얘기가 지배적이고 거기에 또 젠지에게 한 번 져 그리고 KT도 떨어져 이렇게 뭐그
그리고
여러 가지 악재가 상당히 많은 가운데
Ah,
분들이 기대도 합니다만 걱정이 많았는데
new hair, new tea, new jeans, do you see?
많았는데 거기서 마지막에 버티고 있는 힘이 바로 LCK
Bang,
그리고
halo Paril. Coba datang.
버티고 있는 T1이 버텨.
Mana harinya Paril? Udah emam belum?
지금 보십시오. 지금
Jangan lupa emam. Nanti sakit. Kalau kamu sakit, aku gimana Paril?
전 세계적으로 최고의 뷰어십께서 경신하고 있고요. 그래서 저는 작년에 데프트의 성장의 서사가
Songjang. Oke, Songjang.
올해 T1에 그리고 페이커의
Udah. Bagus. Nice.
생각합니다.
Caster Jun, thank you so much. 인터뷰 감사합니다. And good luck on stage.
Kamsahamnida. Shibal. Kalau sakit kau mojok lagi aja. Gak usah dibilang-bilangin Black. Kalau aku sakit kan kamu yang rawat. Rar. Aku yang rawat ya. Nanti ku kirim ke ini, ke dokter. Dokter binatang. Mojok beneran nggak kamu? Hah, pakai nanya. Ocak gaming. Kenanya. Jelas lah. Udah gila. Nah, kenapa? Kenapa Paril? Jatuh dokter binatang. Lah, kalian kenapa sih kasar-kasar banget? Astaga, nggak boleh gitu ah. Nggak boleh kasar. Nggak sih dibawa ke sana. Kenapa sih kalian marah-marah mulu? Aku kan gak salah apa-apa. Kalian gitu sama aku. Jadi aku salah, maaf.
Then you're looking at the mid lane as well. You're trying to see if you can find that success for Xiaohu away from RNG, but also then in the top side, the Shy just
Ya dia ke dokter gigi aja ntar kalau sakit.
trying to build a new home for themselves. It looks like at the moment they found what Weibo and trying to get that synergy has been growing bit by bit over this year.
Yeah, there was a point in time where I actually really did not think the Shy.
Ntar kalau Paril pusing, kalau Paril panas, ntar kita ke dokter gigi aja.
I also don't think we've seen as good as what this Weibo roster wants to be, right? In terms of like signing the names that are here, doing the replacements we talked about, compared to, I guess, what we know some of these players are capable of. I definitely still do not believe we've seen.
Real gorok dia real. Lah, kenapa emang salah ya kalau pusing ke dokter gigi? Siapa tahu karena gusinya gitu. Kan dari sakit gigi bisa jadi pusing kan? Suka nyut gitu kan? Gigi gitu. Nah itu bisa ke kepala, sarafnya. Iya kan? Salah gak? Siapa tahu Paril sakit gigi, bukan pusing doang. Buset, faker banyak banget tuh kopinya tuh. Oh, banyak tuh. Aku enggak sih. Ini siapa tahu sakit gigi. Who knows, siapa yang tahu. Absen Kang, halo Samur, selamat datang. Tidak kerja Mas Samur. Minggu libur ya? Gimana harinya? Aku kangen madam. Aduh, iya. Kita udah lama tidak ketemu ya. Nanti deh. Semalam nggak ini, Mas? Nggak lawan arah. Yang ini iya, ya iyain aja deh. Iya, iya. Ya iyain aja dah. Ya iya udah. Kita harus ketemu sih. Buset, lama banget, udah 3 minggu. Kenapa tuh? Personilnya nggak ada kah? Serah aku lagi sibuk kah?
其实今年的话，我们队伍就是走在 BO5 的胜利局是非常非常多的，包括从夏季赛、资格赛开始，到了世界赛，就是经常会打到最后一局。
Duh, lapar ya. Beuh. Gak ngerti sih sebenarnya. Oh ini Cina. Pionir utamanya pada sibuk. Iya, itu yang bikin serunya ya. Orang-orang itunya ya bikin seru ya. Semoga bisa lanjut. Biar bisa ikut lagi. Aduh, lama banget sih. Ayo cepet mulai. Aku sudah tidak kuat pengen nonton New Jeans. Katanya sih jam 3 ya. Katanya. Dari sananya jam 5. Jam 5 Korea Selatan. KST. Berarti di sini jam 3. Iya, jam 3. Di sini jam 3, di sana jam 5. Harusnya sih sama. Nah, opening ceremony tuh. Oh, let's go New Jeans. Kurang madam, kurang seru. Aduh. Jadi malu. Nanti deh, madam. Nah, udah lama juga nggak masuk ke server ya. Banyak tugas juga, jarang masuk. Sama main palo mulu di server sebelah. Akan pergi lanjut nobar di DC. Dadah, bye bye. Selamat nonton nobar. Have fun. Yeah.
World's 2024 finals will be heading to London, where we celebrate
Nah, halo Bang Ren.
I'm so excited it's going to be in Europe.
Right? Yes. Well,
Ren. Ini kenapa nih?
To Europe in 2024. Look, we were there for MSI for 3 whole weeks in London. The Copper Box fans showed up. They showed out. You brought so much energy.
Karakter gue tiba-tiba ngaco.
Actually taken a world final to the UK before. In fact, we actually haven't been.
Bang Jisoo. Oh my god.
Quarterfinals 2015. Exactly. Yeah. So it is going to be next level worlds after this one. After this one.
Nontonnya ya sama kayak ini. Hah? Sama nontonnya? Buset. Pada main LOL juga kah di sana?
You know what? For our legends to take that legendary stage, it's going to be another iconic moment for the sport, and we're just thrilled to get to share that stage.
Aduh, Siren ngalangin.
The most iconic arena in Europe, maybe one of the most iconic arenas in the world. So
dari
very
sini.
fitting for the best.
Samping.
I'm really happy that we're going back to Europe next year, of course. But let's focus on the festivities that we have with us today and the new format.
Oh, iya po, pantesan. Ya udah, selamat nonton.
what is
Halo
his
Bang Ren.
sentiment towards the Swiss stage, how it
Tadi
played
mic-nya
out, and
lupa
how it's
ini
gonna
lah.
shape the
Hah?
future
Belum ada.
of Worlds and
Tadi mic-nya belum
League of
ini,
Legends, Naz.
belum
Nyala.
tersambung.
Sudah kedukung.
Aman.
Halo Abah. Ngabsen. Ngabsen. Halo Abah, selamat datang. Salah satu alasan kenapa aku download LOL. Oh, nanti kita main bareng dah.
Alasannya aku ya.
Apa?
Enggak jadi.
Ini Bizir. Bentar lagi nih opening ceremony. Oh my god. Nunggu new jeans, new hair, new tee, new jeans. Gak mau buka LL, malas mau palo ya. Ya udah sih. Ini main palo aja tuh. Kemarin katanya ada yang bilang mau hapus palo, siapa ya? Siapa ya? Gak tahu tuh siapa ya. Oh, jeans hard steel cina. Diem lu, marah. Dia marah, gak boleh gitu ya, gak boleh marah-marah. Cepet tua.
It's meant to be this exploration of the shared story that unites all of us who play League around the world, whether you're a lifelong casual or the most dedicated of pro players. So we have a bunch of surprises in store.
Aduh, sorry guys. Sabar, aku harus sabar. Iya, harus sabar lah. Gak boleh marah-marah. Ntar cepet tua.
Today we have everyone. What is specific?
New jeans.
Well, we knew that we wanted to revisit the K-pop idea coming to Korea, but we wanted to switch it up a bit. Like nobody does polished
Oh my god.
perfection like KDA does. So the Heartsteel boys are a little grittier. This is their first, song together. They've been rehearsing the last few days nonstop and causing mischief.
Emot monyet sudah. Itu kenapa itu saudara Bek? Bagaimana Bek? Mau sombong saudara maksudnya?
K-pop band debut is always something
Lu ini marah-marah. Marah-marah. Boleh marah-marah. Cepet tua.
I think it's an amazing matchup to look forward to. So many amazing storylines. What are you looking forward to the most when it comes to these finals?
There's so much. We just talked about the opening ceremony. I think it's going to be a ceremony befitting the caliber of
Mananya
teams
jenisnya
that
sih
we
kok
see on this
malah si
stage.
bapak-bapak sama ibu-ibu.
Belum.
Former world champions,
Kan jam 5 katanya di sana.
and of course T1, the hometown.
Di sana jam 5, di sini jam 3. Setengah jam lagi anjir.
It's going to be amazing.
I mean, I think there's so many incredible matchups. Top lane, of course, we'll be watching.
Minimal sabar lu.
Faker, obviously, everyone.
Aku mah sabar. Aku selalu sabar.
Gua maksudnya ke gua.
Enggak itu. Si Black, gak boleh gitu Black. Tuh. Parah. Si Black tuh.
Oh iya.
Parah Black, kamu gak boleh gitu Black. Kasian.
Let's check out Jat meeting with Caster Jun and Huni talking about T1 and Faker.
Salah lagi gue, alah. Dalah. Ya udah, sok selamat nonton. Coba itu kasihan aja dari tadi. Yang ngewawancarain pakai bahasa Inggris tapi dijawabnya pakai bahasa Korea. Enggak nyambung ya?
What was it like playing with Faker? Faker sees something that we don't see.
Nama juga kerjaan ya, gitu lah.
Kerjaan. Mau ngerti mau enggak ya udah ya. Faker so good. Yeah, Faker. Apa ini? Ih, parah. 2 menit coy. CKPTW. Bentar guys, BRB. Oke, I'm back, let's go. Nah, ini mah Fala sematch bisa nih. Si Zen mana Zen?
Oh ya.
Tumben deh.
Here with Teddy, LPL caster, here today ahead of the 2023 World Finals. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's my honor, and hi, Lauren. Hi to all the audience who's watching this interview. This
All the
is Teddy
audience.
from LPL, and it's my pleasure.
It is an honor having you today, especially because Weibo stands as the last hope for the LPL. And I feel like they had a difficult year. A lot of ups and downs. A lot of people were doubting them, especially making it to the finals. How do you reflect on the journey?
Ya itu waktu kah?
I will say Weibo is a
Masih
very
lama bejir.
LPL team, cause
1/2 jam.
through this whole year, they got a really hard schedule, and nobody was seeing Weibo coming to the finals before this day. And there was a meme in Chinese. There was memes in Chinese
ini
audience
setengah
that
jam
would
juga.
say like, what's the answer for the whole trip? But the meaning is Weibo got really lucky on the draw.
Apain dulu ya, setengah jam ya?
Versus all the teams that except LPL and LCK teams. So people are really excited to see what they can do in the finals. And the 5 players from Weibo are really unique because all of them are really all of them are play long enough. They have a really long career and they have a lot of fans. And I've been seeing that like not only in China, like globally, Weibo has most fans in the LPL. So I'm really excited.
Humble one by one.
And like just like what people said, a lot of people think T1 will smash Weibo today, but that's not for me because Weibo always make miracle.
You never know what happens on finals.
Oh.
Show up on the day. I know that
Nggak bisa.
it's important for
Nggak bisa,
the
nggak bisa.
LPL and Chinese community to
T1
show
harus
up
menang.
in finals. Thinking about him, he seems like he is a king without a crown. What would it mean for you guys and for him to win finals today?
Xiaohu is one of the symbol of the LPL. When he started playing for a pro player, he is only 16, I think. Back in 2013, he's playing for GT, and he's only 16. And at that time, he is a really talented player. But through all this year, we have a memes too for Xiaohu. Xiaohu's Chinese name
Xiaohu.
likely is meaning like tiger. Hu is tiger in Chinese, and people are calling him the Spring Tiger King or the like the king of the spring. Cause every time Xiaohu will make a really good performance on MSI
Xiaohu.
spring split, but Xiaohu always choke on the summer split or always choke.
Xiao siapa?
They choked at
Xiaohu.
2018. They choked at 2019. And this year, I think, is the most important chance for Xiaohu's career.
Looking forward to the game, Teddy. Xie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the interview and good luck on
Bakso
finals today.
apa? Bakso Xiaohu.
The audience.
Bakso tahu.
What is Teddy doing? Teddy
Bakso
has
Xiaohu.
prediction curse on him. So every time he predicts a team in the LPL, they completely lose. He's completely ruined it for
But
Weibo.
then he was like, and he choked then he choked
Oh,
then
sorry.
he was
they haven't gone against like good enough opponents yet.
Not even Weibo know their true form.
Exactly.
But that is the thing. I actually got a chance to chat to Teddy, and he was saying that like after talking to the Weibo coaches, they haven't really had to show their hand in this Worlds either. So there is a lot of stuff that's still waiting in the wings, and even we got to look at like Weiwei bringing out the Belveth last week, which was not something I expected. So I'm hoping we get something similar today.
Yeah, and I think the really interesting thing about Weibo is kind of what I was joking about with K-Droll, but also is true, right? Where I do feel like, well, no, this is a very messy team. We have not seen a clean like series from them yet outside of, and even in the NRG series, they made mistakes. So I think the big thing about Weibo is like we still have not seen what the names on this roster are capable of.
Oh, Weibo.
That's a great point. And also when everyone is saying T1 is looking so good, just last year they got that big reality check, and they will not be underestimating Weibo. I hope for their sakes and the other way around as we see the players arriving.
You're here, Emily, because we got to see some of the things they're capable of with the Shy turbo blasting Bin. If he's capable of more, then we're gonna get back to actually Worlds Finals winning form from him, where he was literally the GOAT top laner.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens. Let's jump into a couple of the matchups. You could throw a rock and end on a fantastic, stellar matchup. So let's start into your favorite role, actually, the jungle. Weiwei versus Owner.
Honestly, this is a really good story, too. We were talking with Emily so much about Owner Summer and then Owner's glow up. I think one of the most important things for T1 at this tournament has been that Owner is peaking at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one who bore the brunt of the most criticism. On T1, he looked really, really lost when Faker was not on the roster, when he was out due to injury. And then additionally, I can't stress enough how good T1's level 1s have been and how cognizant Owner has been of like what they have to do, what they need to do. We saw just in your telestrator with how well
Weiwei.
Along with Faker, so that was really great to see.
And I think on the opposite side, Weiwei has been absolutely spectacular for them. This is a guy that sat on Suning for a while, training under SOFM, and now we're starting to see the magic that he can bring out on the world stage as well. It's been a long time coming for Weiwei to try and build up the caliber of player that he's expected to be. And taking over from Karsa was never going to be an easy feat, but it feels like Weiwei is now living up to his expectations, playing heavily around that bot side, but even last week, you know, starting to mix things up, playing towards the Shy as well.
Yeah, I mean, it does not look like an easy task to jungle for Weibo. And he has been up to the task. I actually started the entire tournament with a replay of him doing a 3-camp clear into diving bottom lane. It's a strategy that they have played over and over. Now we're getting back into the Owner greatest hits because both of these junglers have had such big plays. And this one right here was so critical. You know, the hitbox for an Ashe arrow is actually at the end of the arrow. So he walks into the tip, flashes over it, then gets the perfect rel engage, allows Faker to get the follow-up engage there on the Azir. And it is these critical moments here where these junglers are making the biggest plays on the biggest stage.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for me with Owner is that kill participation, right? Like, I cannot stress enough how important he's been to, again, not only the level 1s, but like the team fights we just saw. And now that he has so much more confidence, we're seeing it also reflected mechanically, which is something we'd previously seen from him in spring and in years past. But obviously this summer was such a huge struggle for him. It is great to see him back in form.
Yes, and we'll see how much time the jungler spent in the mid lane, because Faker and Zhao, who have been competing for roughly 10 years already. But tonight, they're finally facing off on the biggest stage possible in our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz.
In League of Legends history, there is one player who stands above the competition. A player who can simply be referred to as God. When asked who the greatest League of Legends player of all time is, there is one name on the lips of every esports fan: Faker. He is nothing short of a legend. Taking him down makes titles feel that much more valuable, and watching him win reminds us that while form is temporary, Faker is forever. Faker playing at his peak is indistinguishable from art, and with him performing the best we have seen in years, the World Finals stage will be his canvas. It is rare for Faker to face a player that has been in the scene for almost as long as he has, but Shahu is an absolute legend in his own right. The LPL player with the most titles in history, including 3 MSI championships, has faced Faker before on the world stage. But he has never been able to take down the king on the road to the biggest trophy of them all. In his first World Finals, Xiaohu has a hunger that cannot be sated by anything other than the final missing piece of his incredible career, the World Championship. If Xiaohu can play at his best, even the unkillable Demon King himself may not be enough to stop him from finally getting his prize.
TP coming in, Faker looking to make the play against Ruler. Owner goes in, and again the combos are clean. The hostile takeover is damn well hostile.
This is the final featured matchup of 2023, presented by Mercedes-Benz, and the hopes of both their teams and their regions.
Sekarang itu 2023 ya?
Masih 2021.
Iya, 23 ring.
Glory awaits one, and for the other, a return to the grind. No matter today's result, we're about to be
lupa.
two of the greatest mid laners to ever touch the game, facing off on the world's biggest stage.
What a matchup, and as
Lihat udah siap gitu tuh. Di belakang tuh. Panggung.
and also in terms of kind of their pedigree, they are both amazing, but we have to say Faker has been playing out of his mind.
Lama banget nih. Ayo, cepet.
Cuman buat satu lagu doang, ya udah.
Iya, anjir.
He has eliminated Xiaohu 3 at Worlds in the knockout stage. He has so much of an advantage here, and the individual plays that he has actually pulled out have been thoughtful as well as mechanically executed super high level.
Has he been the best mid laner at Worlds?
The only argument I'd have against that is maybe Knight, but it's hard to say it. Like, he knocked out Knight, he made this play that sent team to the finals. It's hard to argue that it's not Faker who's number one.
Yeah, and I know it's become a little bit of a meme, but you can't stress enough how important his voice and comms is. Like, Kobe, you stress that people can go back and look at comms from that team fight just because...
Ya, kalau bikin tim namanya I1.
I1.
Jadi I1.
Iwan. Bener juga, Iwan. Bener, masuk plagiat gak tuh? Masuk gak tuh plagiat?
Nama-nama Iwan semua protes.
The big thing with Xiaohu, as you look at like his year here, obviously Weibo struggled a little bit in summer. Pedro already covered that. Regionals, he was such a massive part to get this team here to the world stage, but on the world stage, he has not performed nearly as well as Weibo would want him to be performing, especially going into the championship.
You still have to give this guy credit though. Like, Xiaohu has never lost international finals, and every single time he has won that international finals, it has been against an LCK team. Kingzone Dragon X, Damwon Kia, T1, and there's only been 3 teams ever in the history of competitive League of Legends that have managed to take down an LCK team in the finals. You're looking at EDG, Taipei Assassins, and RNG with Xiaohu. This guy has been instrumental to getting his teams here, and 2 of those teams that managed to take down LCK teams already have their world's title. It feels like Xiaohu now has to earn his one here today, and it could be the moment where he gets it.
Was that a monologue?
No, mini-log. You're the master, you're the judge.
I don't know. Yeah, and it is, I mean, you have to give him his credit, and he hasn't been having the best tournaments, but it only matters what you do today, you know? He only has to show up as a big task at hand, but we have to give him the benefit of the doubt that this would be the day for him to do it, in terms of all the experience about being on this stage, about shot calling a team under stressful situations.
And I think as well, when you look at like his road to get here, Xiaohu's kind of had to dismantle his legacy to a certain extent. He beat EDG with Uzi to make it to the world stage. That was the guy he won his first MSI with. He just watched Gala be beaten by T1 on the opposite side of the bracket, the guy he won his second MSI with, and then he went up against Bin in that semi-final, the guy he won his third MSI title with. He's had to take everything over the course of his years and look them dead in the eye and say, can I do this with a new team on my own? And now the final boss is in front of him with Faker.
Yeah, and some of those he was top lane, you know?
Yeah.
I think the other big thing about Xiaohu is when I talk about this Weibo team and I'm like,
Xiaohu,
we haven't seen their final form, it feels like we haven't seen all 5 of their players play at their best together. And Xiaohu is like one of the players I'm looking at and being like, he was insane.
Gua mah bodo amat, Xiaohu gak tahu, Xiaohu nyujin.
Aku mau nyujin sama Heartsteel buru.
So why not today? But as said already, we've talked about him a lot, and I think it's only just Faker, the longevity of his career as well. And I wanted to just pull up everyone he's played with and had success with. And I think this is such an important key when we look through the lens of the longevity of his career at his career. Because Faker is a mid laner that had to adjust to different teammates, different junglers, different play styles, different impact on the team. And that is one of the most impressive things, to stay stable across all those iterations.
Yeah, and I think the big thing about Faker is that as we look at all of his teammates over the years, he has had to evolve as a mid laner, right? Like initially he came on, he was this genius mid laner, immediately kills Ambition in his first game. It's massive. They go to Worlds, they win his first year. But starting in about like 2015, 2016 is really where you saw him have such an amazing understanding of the map, really start playing for his teammates. So as the game has evolved, so has Faker to stay at the top.
It is absolutely insane what you need to have that sort of longevity, and that's why everyone respects him so much. No other player has that.
Let's hear from the GOAT himself with Lore and Ji-sun after their semifinals victory over JDG in the Verizon Game Day interview.
What you play, God?
He was telling me about finals last year and how you got complacent
Si Faker
semifinals. And I remember an interview of you saying that you learned so much through defeat, especially. So what are the learnings that you're going to carry from the loss last year to get the title today?
매 패배로 인해서 이제 어떻게 경기를 준비하고 또 경기를 해야 더 좋은 경기력이 나올 수 있을까, 그런 것들을 많이 또 배웠던 것 같고요. 그리고 아무래도 이제 4시드 팀이다 보니까 좀 작년에는 어느 정도 방심을 하는 경향도 조금은 있었을 수 있었다고 생각했는데 올해 들어서는 이제 그런 4시드 팀일수록 좀 더 기세를 많이 타고 또 선발전부터 올라오는 팀이다 보니까 절대 방심하지 않고 준비를 할 것 같습니다.
So after every defeat, I learned so much about how to plan for the game and also how to play the game. So I got so much learning from the previous experiences. And also last year, to be completely honest, we were going up against the 4th seeded team of the LCK. Maybe we kind of was a little too feeling comfortable or maybe even confident. But with that experience, I kind of realized that actually because they're the 4th seeded teams, they made it all the way from the regional qualifiers, which means great momentum. So I think because we got so much learning from last year, this year will be different.
This year because even though this is T1's 6th final, this is your first time playing finals in Korea, Faker. How important is this one for you, and how will you make it count?
네, 한국에서 경기를 하다 보니까 아무래도 많은 팬분들이, 특히나 한국 팬분들이 더 관심 있게 지켜보실 것 같고, 그만큼 이제 저로서는 그 팬분들께 더 즐거움을 드리고 영감을 드리는 대회가 되기 때문에 그만큼 중요하긴 하지만, 개인적으로 이제 어디서 경기를 하는가가 저에게 있어서는 그다지 중요하지 않고 저는 이제 매 경기 최선을 다하는
karakter gue mangap mulu sih.
Because it's in Korea, I know there are so many fans, especially Korean fans, paying attention to this matchup, and also it's gonna be a great inspiration for them. But for myself, I want to say where the game is being played is not that big of a deal. You know, I just want to focus on my play and do my best.
Well, looking forward to these finals and wishing T1 best of luck in Tokyo. 감사합니다. Ji-sun, thank you so much, and Shox, back to you.
Kamsahamnida.
Thank you so much, Lore and Ji-sun from the past.
Lama segitu ya? Ininya ya, wawancarinya ya? Belum makan kali dia.
In the top lane, and if we're looking at miracles, possible miracles for Weibo, Teddy said that's what they need to win this series. I'm looking at the Shy. He has shown already dumpstering Bin in 2 of their games versus BLG. I'm not going to say 1v9 because that's a bit hyperbolic, but it's not that close. The Shy was the biggest carry factor in 2 of those games. huge importance of the Rumble pick as well as the Graves counter pick into the Aatrox, and he had massive numbers, huge CS and damage differences here, and that's against Bin. This is no slouch. This is who people were touting as the best top laner in the world. So masterful stuff from him. On the other side, from Zeus, he had advantages over 369 in almost every single game that they also played. And while he didn't have the flexibility shown in Champion Pool, he played mostly Aatrox and then had the one Yone counter pick, he also still had a massive influence on this game in a world where people are always memeing on top lane as not having this big impact and being an island. These two top laners that have made it to this stage have certainly had the impact.
Yeah, this top lane matchup is going to be so much fun. And for Zeus, I think, obviously, it's kind of a return to form for him. But also, he was able to get his revenge against 369, right? Because last year, when these two teams faced each other at Worlds, I felt like people were really looking at 369 being like, you know, he's so much better. Even though T1 won, he got his revenge this time. And he's been such, like, the fact that he's been able to be so stable for T1, I think has been so key to their success.
But he has to show up today.
It's true.
Finals, he has to, okay. Stay strong in the finals.
Stay sharp. So let's talk about the champion pools then, as we're moving closer to Champ Select. It's still ways away. Talk to me about the champ pool for Zeus then.
I mean, they share a lot of champions.
They do.
Both these top laners have played a whole bunch, but Zeus actually has two that the Shy has never played in his career. We're looking back at career-long stats. Now, if you play against Zac and solo queue, you know that actually the Conqueror top Zac does a lot of unexpected damage. And we saw the power of the Yone counter pick specifically into the Aatrox, which has become very prevalent in the current meta. So these are two tools that Zeus has shown that the Shy hasn't.
Oh, that's so cute, these unique champions.
Halo Rusa Hijau, halo Bang Yuzu, selamat datang. Gimana harinya? Hari kita nonton LOL.
So that's where you see stuff like the Anivia, the Kalista, and Vayne top. You can kind of blame the Shy for proliferating those in top lane. The Victor top, the Viego. I think the thing I really want to stress about the Shy, not only is he super aggressive in a lot of these matchups as people.
Tapi BTW bukan rusak loh.
But he is more than willing to try something incredibly off the wall. We just
Tanduknya bukan rusak, ini sebenarnya benar ranting pohon.
This is absolutely insane. The fact that for Zeus, who hasn't played anywhere near so many of these different things, has been able to perform in a plethora of different styles. I mean, you can see the things like the Tryndamere, the Camille's, the
Ngizu main LOL gak?
That could be the carries, but also you got the Malphites, the Orns. They kind of are just a beast on so many different styles, and what's made them so good for so long.
Yeah. Okay. Zeus is about quality of picks, not quantity. Okay.
It's not about the size of the pool; it's what you do with it. Okay, I got you. But speaking of the Shy, ahead of his return to the World's Finals, the Shy joined Lord after their victory over BLG in the Verizon Game Day interview.
Ayo New Jeans yang mana New Jeans? Main cuma satu match terus uninstall lah. Kenapa tuh? Main satu match terus uninstall. Kenapa tuh? Gak masuk kah? Cepet banget itu ganti bajunya. Yang interviewnya. Kan tadi bajunya beda.
다른 팀원들은 이제 아마 스스로가 알 거고 저 개인적인 경우에는 좀 리스크지는 플레이에 대한 리턴 값에 대한 명확한 결론을 알게 된 것 같아요. 그래서 확실한 결과값이 있을 때만 리스크를 지기로 했고 아니었을 때는 좀 더 안정적인 플레이 추구하는 식으로
ngerti mainnya.
First of all, I want to say our
biasanya main apa? ML dong kah? Kalau MOBA?
Early this year, I was like, our communication is
Emang susah ya?
so messy, but
apalagi Dota. Lebih susah Dota. Kata Bu Emma.
Other players are believing so as well. And for myself personally, I think I finally able to find a conclusion of perfect calculation of risk taking place. So for example, I can calculate everything. See if it's actually worth the play, I go for it. But if not,
Pantesan analog.
without any like
Iya, susah sih.
outcome, I would not make that play.
Itemnya banyak juga kali ya.
I think this confidence shows on
Mainnya beda.
amazing story for you, especially 5 years ago.
Ribet.
You're here in Korea, winning your first world championship. You will be playing finals again for another title. How much of a different player are you compared to back then?
우선 5년 전에 네, 같은 결승에 올라왔었는데 5년 전에 저는 그냥 게임하는 어린아이였다고 생각합니다. 네, 지금은 좀 더 많은 성장을 했고
Bukannya itu dari Cina ya? Ini pakai bahasa Korea, anjir.
소통과 플레이적 면에서도 좀 더 특별함을 보여줄 수 있는 것 같아요. 좀 더 냉정한 판단을 하게
Jago juga.
그런 부분 좀
Ada yang gampang, kenapa harus yang susah? Nggak salah. Nggak salah. Tapi skinnya bagus-bagus loh. Skinnya bagus-bagus loh. Nggak. Nggak skin motor tapi bannya nggak muter.
Last year, DRX LCK 4th seed was winning worlds, defying all expectations. This year, LPL 4th seed Weibo made it as well to finals, defying expectation with you as a captain.
Oh, ini main. Lah, gas lah, kapan-kapan kita main.
뭐 이런 미신이잖아요, 사실 그죠? 네,
Lu juga tuh, Eri.
정말 좋은 것 같아요. 저희 팀이 미신에서
Malah lebih ke emang lebih ke ML sih kalau Wadrik.
미소 짓게 만드는 말인 것 같아요, 그냥.
Bisa 1 versus 5. Gak kayak yang LOL di PC. Buset, baru skin KDA, anjay. Ada skin baru loh, Heartsteel. Gak akan dibeli tuh. Di Wild Rift. Heartsteel keluar tuh.
And thank you. Good luck on finals as well. And Jisan, thank you so much for the translation.
It's gonna be so interesting to see if the top laners with all their might
17 menit lagi. Let's go, new jeans, new jeans.
1 menit lagi.
17 menit lagi, 17 menit lagi. Kapan-kapan. Mahil ya, mahil ya.
Because of dragon stacking, and we've seen especially T1 have been magnificent at that. Let's start with Guma though. This
Pengen beli yang Kayen, si Kayen atau enggak Yonek. Pengen beli tapi aduh. Nanti deh. Beli. Nggak limit juga kan ya? Kalau yang gini. Kalau Heartsteel, KDA kayak gitu, nggak limit kan skinnya? Bisa beli kapan aja.
And then the 1 versus Ruler and 369 where he flashes both the Q from the Zeri and the Q from the Aatrox and he still wins it is absolutely insane, like scripting level stuff.
Absolutely insane.
I do think on the opposite side though, Light has been very underrated his entire
Kayak
career.
semoga aja deh. Pengen beli yang Kayen. Bisa tuh skin dapat 3.
Incredible AD carries that are in this region make it hard to stand out, but Light is slowly but surely back from LNG, growing now where he was with Iwandi onto this roster, has becoming and making his name like Gala did at these international events to become an insane AD carry that now he'll get to prove if he can take down Gumayushi.
And it's a critical part of their strategy that we've seen. They send Weiwei, they send resources, so much stuff into Light to get him to carry.
They do, and for more on Gumayushi, we have a World's Finals edition of Draw My Life with Emily Rand.
Draw my life. Cina.
Gumayushi. World's Finals Edition. Woo! Lee Gumayushi Min Hyung first.
Lee Gumayushi Min Hyung.
Upset Hanwha Life Esports at the 2018 Kespa Cup. This roster also included Doran, Elim, Plex, and
Min Hyung.
Gumayushi is actually the 6th of 7 total siblings, which also include former SK Telecom T1 Terran, StarCraft 2 player Innovation. In middle school, when Guma told his father that he wanted to go pro, his father said that he had to reach Challenger by the end of middle school, and he hit it in the 8th grade. In LCK Spring 2022, Gumayushi had 219 kills, which is the most for any LCK player in a split, and he beat Ruler's previous record of 209 kills. Alongside his laning partner Keria, Gumayushi is an instrumental part of T1's ability to dictate the global meta, especially regarding bot lane 2v2s. And also, like his T1 teammates, Gumayushi has been very outspoken about how much the DRX defeat really humbled them and has fueled their desire to win. And I stress
Wah, suara motor tuh.
go watch the T1 documentary.
Masuk ya.
Really like
Motor siapa lagi berisik banget.
a lot of these facts came from there.
Lu tahu mic gue ini
Can't stress enough
sensitif.
talked about the Varus. 2v2s are so important.
Mic gue kayak cewek sensitif.
Instrumental part of this T1 roster for the past few years.
And the sentiment that we saw in that documentary is the sentiment that runs across all of this T1, which we will touch on later as well. But the fact that they have been so good, but just not good enough to win those finals, and how much regret they had. That shot of Keria breaking down into tears and Faker looking over, I will never forget it, and they won't either, I don't think. But I'm glad you mentioned it about the bot lane in general. We need to talk about supports, about the support picks in general, how they've evolved over this tournament, and what we expect today.
All right, I prepared something awesome. So let's talk about the evolution of the support meta and how much Keria has been at the forefront of it.
Siapa tuh?
This has been so cool to watch across the entire tournament. Keria being the first player to bring out the Renata against Team Liquid. Sorry, Kobe, there are going to be some LCS defeats in here.
Ya ampun, itu motor balik lagi.
Tom Kench, and then Keria bringing out the Bard against C9. This Bard pick has actually become huge and has been something he has further iterated on in their more recent series. As you can see him kind of helping destroy C9 with it. Kalian bringing out
Si Neon tuh dari LOL juga kan? Dari Riot ya itu?
against Weibo Gaming, which is super important because then Crisp on Weibo
Riot.
actually picked it up as
Ada di LOL juga kan?
Nggak tahu.
Then
Oh iya.
T1 Keria again flexing Senna into the bot.
Kemarin gue lihat kayak ada Neon, Zara namanya tapi.
The Ash, when we talk about T1 doing these bot lane 2v2s, it is double 80 carry that we see them doing a lot. And this iterated in the Weibo BLG series, where both of these teams were really trying out bot lanes like the Kalista and Caitlyn that you see here, and the Varus Ashe for Weibo on the other side. And then once again, I already brought this up, but Bard was such a massive pick for Keria and T1 in the JDG series. And again, like I wanted to...
Gue gak ngerti main LOL tuh gara-gara ini aja. Banyak banget CC-nya.
Keria has kind of been there.
Kayak nggak bisa 1 versus 5.
Why T1 is here in this final, because they are able to influence the meta so much. They're basically dragging
Tiap hero kayak ada aja CC.
Yeah, and also how Weibo has reacted, right? Because Crisp has been one of the supports to take a look over and be like, I'm gonna take that for me.
It does make you wonder how we start off with Alistair at the start of this tournament,
how did
though.
that happen?
And I think it kind of showed there where Keria in that clip was able to take down Missing on the Alistair. It felt like the JDG weren't really able to contest the 2v2 bot lane for T1, and now it's going to be a big moment here to see if Light and Crisp can try and respond. I do think we're starting to move into a meta that favors Crisp a little bit more. Like when you think back to when he won his world championship, those things like the Thresh, the Tam Kench, he can play back.
Aduh, lama banget 11 menit.
Doesn't feel like he wants to be on the Nautiluses, so this could actually work.
Aku nungguin New James.
Is this the key to a possible victory for
Sama Heartsteel.
Wow, it's a party. You have to get it under control in the bot lane, or you have to throw a wrench in the whole toolbox to make sure that you're on the best foot.
It certainly is the key to my excitement because I am most excited for new picks.
Yang naga muncul tuh LOL yang tahun berapa sih? Yang muncul naga, ih cakep. Itu yang cosplay cakep-cakep banget.
Now we have all these range supports to people picking Blitzcrank like Draven lanes and going for kill lanes again.
Keria is prepared for that though, because he's just gonna flex Senna support.
I think that Keria might be the one doing it with Chris playing so many of these range supports, but very excited to see it.
Oh, we're so happy, so excited about the drafts. I think there's such a big opportunity for both sides, and also in terms of what T1 does with their drafts, in terms of when they get into the game, right, Emily? The level ones that have been at blistering pace, running over the enemies at times.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing I would want to stress about T1 level 1s as we look at a few of them is that whatever composition they have, they set up so well for it, right? So this is them really taking advantage of the champions that they have here, and doing this invade to also get bot side pressure for the Nila and Senna. And I think at every single step, you can see T1 being so thoughtful about how they want to set up the game, not only from draft, but from level 1.
And it gives them the opportunity to try and punish the fact that oftentimes they do have these double AD carries.
Oh,
It's
selamat
incredibly
ya.
impressive when you go for the level 1s, means you can set up a ton of vision, and it's given a ton of control to Owner as well, specifically, who, I mean, we saw him get the 1v1 kill against Tarzan off the back of these level 1s. You see him getting control here once again. There's so many opportunities where T1 are able to take these advantages and punish the rest of the game, especially when you look towards, hey, we now get the
Masuk
vision,
belakang
the early
tuh.
push to set up for early dragons, to then hit the level 6 in the support, to get the early Rift Heralds. It's this knock-on effect that comes from these great level 1 plays that T1 have been setting up.
Yeah, it's so important, in fact, that you see top laners even coming down for the level 1 invades, because this area of the map is such a domino effect. And we had our first ARAM moment of Worlds there, and T1 actually getting a pretty big advantage out of that one. But you know, because they've done it so much already, Weibo are studying this. Weibo are crafting their counter to
Set.
the level 1 invades, to the draft possibilities.
Faker semua ini mah.
T1. So I'm almost even more excited to see what are going to be those Weibo attempted answers, because we've already seen if there's so much attention in bottom lane, then that frees up the Shy to pick all these counter picks in top side, whether they work or not.
Yeah, maybe try the Bel'Veth game 1, see what that
Always good for a level 1 invade.
Actually, you added the whether they work or not.
Yeah, we'll see. I do want to open up kind of the perspective just a little bit as we move closer to the opening ceremony and to game 1.
Yeah.
And let's reset a little bit.
Opening ceremony.
To see T1 versus Weibo play, and just to look at T1 making it to the finals, the context of how many times that they have won it before, 3, the fact that they have another chance, the fact that they have that chance in this arena, which is already full, by the way. There's just so much history in this moment, Emily.
Yeah, and obviously, like we were joking about how Faker is inevitable, but so is T1 against the LPL. Like when you are talking about Korean League of Legends esports, T1, SK Telecom T1, SK Telecom T1K, whatever you want to call them, has been Korea's team, right? This is the most popular team. I've been walking around Seoul and you just see people wearing T1 gear randomly. I can't stress enough again what this organization means to South Korean esports, and then also how much Faker means as, you know, not only the figurehead of this team, but League of Legends as a whole.
And I think for this roster in general as well, I mean, trying to get that win would mean so much. This is potentially the last time that we get to see this roster together. We've already seen Team 1 members talk about that. And for a team that has been so close so often, it feels like they just need that one title to push them into the contention of, was this one of the best teams we've ever seen across League of Legends history?
Honestly, you think they are right there, because already this exact T1 roster that we're going to see perform today has played the most international games together, because they've made so many international tournaments and gone so deep in them, yet they lost 5 finals in a row so far, so they're looking to break the streak just in time to get that cup.
I mean, they've only won 1 out of their last 7 finals, which is heartbreaking for T1.
It is. It's just so crazy to see, and it is because you want to call them that great team, one of the best teams we've seen in the last 2
Ih, kok ngumpet,
years.
Teteh?
It's a hurdle, and I think that is the million-dollar question today. Will they be able to overcome it from the way they have risen up?
3-0, buset.
Inclined to say yes, but crazier things have happened in a World Finals, Dagda.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it last year with DRX, right? And you even hear T1 talking about how they felt like they were overconfident and underprepared for what DRX was going to bring to the table. But you can see across the board there how many of these finals have just been absolute heartbreaks for them. And it's been T1 looking on from the shadows, hoping that maybe just finally they can get that win.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for T1, again, is you hear how cognizant their players are of how confident they did get against DRX, right? And then additionally, if we look at how the meta has evolved, it's been T1 who's been at the forefront of that.
Oh no, nangis. Nah, dia. Akhirnya datang.
Aing barusan keluar dulu, cowok.
Kemana? Benteng.
Oh, biasa.
two teams. I thought this was an amazing tweet by Renato talking about how they both finished
Sekarang tandingnya doang ya?
sixth in summer. They made it here as the 4 seed
Tandingnya aja.
for their team, and then also have the same
Enggak, open ceremony.
Wah, kayaknya udah final anjir.
Iya final.
These writers are getting lazy.
Like someone had their birthday, they had a cake. They're channeling it.
And also, look, a lot of people are talking about T1, the meta starting to shift into their favor, but you look at when the Shy won his world championship, it was the Aatroxes, it was the carry top laners that he could perform on, and we're getting to see that shift into it again today. Crisp as well, looking to move in towards, hey, I don't want to be the big engage tool.
Harusnya sih open ceremony dulu.
Things that can play from afar, like the Thresh, we got Renata now. It's things that can actually keep your AD carry safe, and I think this is where we also have to say, look, this is a moment where Weibo, it also, in the same vein, is moving across to favoring them in the same way it's favoring T1.
Yes, I mean, we are here in Korea, so we're looking through that lens, but we heard it from Teddy as well. The hope of the LPL is on Weibo's shoulders. We'll see how it turns out, and I would also like to see who our fans, think are going to win today and hoist the Summoners Cup in our MasterCard fan predictions. You can, of course, well, not anymore. This was your last chance, so thank you all for participating at MasterCard GG on X.
Prediksinya, prediksinya anjir. 85% T1 deh.
Tadi 23 atau win.
Yang boleh setiwan itu anjir. Aduh iya kakak cantik banget.
Iwan Saparea. Iwan Salon.
Iwan.
Iwan adik. Iwan.
Itu katanya si Ren mau bikin tuh. Tim e-sport
Salon. Oh.
I1. Iwan.
Iwan. Everyone and their mother is trying to get a ticket to this event, and it is insane.
Yes. Predictions then. I know it's the biggest one. It's the last one.
Yang keluar naga tuh word berapa sih?
Emily, you can go first.
Keluar naga mah
2000 berapa?
KDE 2021 kan?
Pas KDE. Oh, kemarin dong berarti. KDE tuh kemarin kan?
Enggak. KDE mah 5 tahun yang lalu anjir. Berarti 2018-an.
Oh, udah lama ya?
Lama. Itu lagi booming-boomingnya KDA KDE. KDE terus against the current pas Legend Never Die, tau gak lagunya? Nah itu yang keluar naga di panggung.
I mean, I'm happy to go next. I think that it only takes one day to write history, and the opportunity is here today for both these squads. But I'm going to go 3-2 Weibo Gaming. I think when I look at Weibo, the talent and the possibilities that are on this squad is absolutely insane. The fact that you have the meta starting to shift up towards the Shy, where he has an opportunity to play his best. Crisp also having a renaissance now that we've had that meta shift in towards these ranged supports is working well for him. And look, I know that Xiao Hu has had his struggles.
The new jeans buff is real di ini.
New jeans buff iya. Menang ini T1 gara-gara di buff new jeans.
Kan kemarin foto barengan.
Iya, foto bareng. Bareng. Siapa sih yang ngefansnya tuh? Ngefans banget anjir. Hah?
Oh iya, waktunya nambah 10 menit.
What the hell? Bro, kita udah nungguin.
Tadi 4.
Boleh senambah itu? Anjir.
IndiHome pasti IndiHome tuh.
Anjir, warnet bukan ditambah 10 menit.
Iya, timnya baru pada dateng anjir tuh di Videotron anjir.
Oh tuh new jeansnya tuh berdang tuh. Enggak itu mah itu aja Mercedes. Oh piala.
Pialanya. Oh aja. Lap clip.
Keren juga iklannya tuh. Iklanin Mercedesnya. Bawa piala.
The Kalista is a massive one. The Nico is a massive one. That Rumble is also the third one. So it feels like your red side is fairly locked in, at least for game 1 for T1. But the big curiosity for me is what happens with Weibo coming into this. Because I feel like if you end up banning something like the Orion on blue side, which we don't get to see a huge amount of the time, you open up the opportunity for Xiaohu to take the Azir, and then you threaten what has been Faker's champion pool. He's
Xiaohu Dui.
Faker has literally got a million and one different things, right? But I think it is trying to put that pressure onto them and seeing if you can get that comfort for Xiaohu is going to be massive.
Yeah, you make the caveat, and you have to, but we know the context of Faker and his injury, unfortunately, was taking out, had to come back in, and maybe the champion pool isn't as wide as it once was. Of course, an Akali is something that he's had on his solo queue account as well, but it's all about what will be the best here. And will it even be the mission to attack that mid lane, you think, Kobe, in the draft?
I think that
Cantik.
Faker is one of the best with dealing with that mid lane. You know, if
Cantik
they
cok.
do
Asli bro. Cantik banget. Oh my god.
I feel like better than he has in years.
Oh my god kakak.
Coming back from the injury. Honestly,
Siapa
the
tuh?
rehab that he did during the injury,
Kayak artis ini.
time away from League of Legends, might have actually been a
Tulis apaan aja.
Enggak, artis luar maksudnya.
Oh, harus luar.
And I love that we got those voice comms from the game that you also broke down, because maybe people think it's all about that split second, and it is, but it is also about everything else. It is
Rambutnya kayak sama semua.
minutes before it happens. Maybe I'm overreacting just a little.
Setelan default anjir.
Setelan default Korea.
Everything that has to be perfect on a day like this.
And that's why it actually frustrates me when I hear people saying, oh, well, the reason T1 are doing good is because the meta shifted in their favor. You don't beat a team like JDG in team fights if it's just a meta shift. These guys have played so incredibly well together. It felt like Owner and Faker had one single mind every single team fight that they went into because they were so in sync. It felt like they understood how to set up better, how to prepare the map better. And even looking at their initial series against Gen G in Worlds, I was like, do you know what? This team still doesn't really have it. I'm not going to be able to give it to them. But after watching them against JDG and the understanding they had about every way to approach the map, approach the fights, approach the objectives, this is T1 stepping up massively while also hitting that meta shift that is perfect for them.
And I also feel like if people are trying to use meta shift as like a detractor, saying it was handed to them, they're the ones shifting the meta. They're the ones
Tanding di
getting out
Korea.
there with Carrier and Guma and playing.
Iwan nang Koreanya aja nih Korea. Ah, kabeh Korea aja.
DPS top laners.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Anda
they
Korea.
have the work to move it into their own favor. They're the ones creating their own meta.
Yeah, and if you look at both of these teams, I think it's the thoughtfulness from T1 that actually, like obviously I'm going T1 3-0 as a vote of confidence in terms of which of these teams I think is going to look better on the day. But in terms of the way they see the game, the fact that they took the meta themselves and changed it, and I think we've seen inklings of that from Weibo iterating on it. But in Weibo's games, and again, this is why it would be so cool if what you want to happen happens, right? Because that is an amazing story in and of itself. Like this team, this Weibo team coming together, finally all finding it on the same day. Because the thing I think I've been the most critical of Weibo about for the individual players is that it seems like all 5 individuals have not had a brilliant day together, right? Like one of them is great, and then another one looks like they have the flu. And if they can all do it together as 5, then that changes completely what this series is going to look like.
And I mean, Xiaohu said that he would burn himself for these finals. He has been one of the players that has been getting the
Xiaohu lagi.
How crazy would it be for Weibo
Xiaohu.
to actually come out with a huge upset here over T1 with him playing exceptionally, with Crisp, who's been memed on for hook champions, to then start countering some of these range ones and pick and blitz and go for kill lanes. Like, that would be the craziest type of scenario. This is the team to pull out something like that.
Bis harus mulai nih mah, harus mulai. Yang mau tahu.
This was the guy who stepped up massively for them in summer. When it wasn't even like, I don't even feel like it's a day. It's individual games where people can just completely go back and forth. But Xiaohu has been the rock for this team. And I feel like that title has kind of shifted to Weiwei in a certain extent at this stage, where he's now become the stalwart player to be, hey, I will make sure that I'm getting bot lane into a position where they can carry, where I can set up then for the Shy and top side as well. And I think this is where the moment has to come back to, can Xiaohu do it? This is the guy that time and time again has stepped up for the LPL. He has been the person saved to get the MSI titles. And I feel like nearly the pressure of trying to get that first Worlds has kind of gotten to him. But now he's past where he was before. Highest ever win. Semi-finals before. If you can just have that one day to perform, bring back that magic from summer, that's where we could see Weibo really go up against T1 here today.
Yeah, we know how brutal the fans
Pindah
are
Korea yuk.
to him specifically. We've seen snippets of it and just the pressure. Teddy just now. The pressure all of these players are under. And maybe Keria as well, right? We talk so much about how he's been at the forefront of this meta, how you can't ban
Awas ditambah lagi nih.
might have the R5 actually from game 1 because Weibo selected to go on the blue side.
Oh, si Keria nih. Yang suka banget sama New Jeans anjir.
How gut-wrenching it was for him to lose last year.
That is, it's 100%. Like, he has been so incredible for T1, but I think what's been even more impressive is, like, against JDG, everyone expected them to go, oh, we'll go War 5 support. He just picked his first one on, like, War 3 and was like, I don't care. I'm just going to smash you. And he looked absolutely insane. The Bard has been instrumental. The double AD carry bot lane has been absolutely nuts. And the fact that he's been able to completely reshape what it is considered to be a top support in this meta at Worlds is absurd when you look at how good he is.
And to piggyback on something you said earlier, it's not just the bot lane 2v2s, right? Like, obviously, we've talked about the support picks. We've talked about how Keria and Kumayushi have been able to kind of affect the meta at this tournament. But it's also, in terms of Keria's like in-game prowess, it's in these team fights. And that was instrumental in beating JDG because, like you said, it came down to the fact that not only did they have really impressive early games, but when they did fall behind in games, this kind of thoughtfulness around the team fights, the fact that they were able to 5v5 their way back was so important to this team's evolution.
And I think that's been the glow up of T1 over the course of this event. I think that's why T1 has been on the forefront of what everyone expects to be. Now look, I'm still going to go with Weibo, but I think T1 have definitely made a name for themselves coming into this going, hey, we have gotten past what have been every single hurdle thus far. And I think this would be the moment where it would be absolutely incredible for them to finally take that title home. And for Weibo as well, like, it has been the moment for them to try and finally find that magic, that everyone, that ceiling that everyone wants to see, because we just haven't got the torchlight, the spotlight to get to that point yet.
Everybody thought the Riders outdid themselves last year with the story of Deft versus Faker and the finals and the narrative. But now, with Faker coming back 10 years into his career, looking for another World Cup, and looking back at how last year really did that much to strengthen this story. Sometimes when you see that picture of Keria on stage last year and how much it meant to them, and that they were so close, sometimes a moment like that will galvanize a whole team and just bring them closer together and more determined here. That's why.
And now in Korea as well.
Yeah. And they're on home soil in Korea. It's like, oh my goodness, the story is too perfect to be true.
It is. We thought maybe last year was when the Riders outdone themselves and it was too perfect.
Nambah lagi nih waktu.
Parah sih kalau ditambah lagi. Gue udah nunggu banget nih.
We can see it all around us. It has been full for a while now, and everyone is so excited for this day. That's going to be historical for our sport. And you said it already. It has been 3,695 days since Faker first stepped onto a World's final stage and won his first title. 10 years, 1 month, and 12 days later, he has the chance to not only win his 4th World Championship, but to do it in front of tens of thousands of unwavering LCK fans. Now, on their way here, T1 have dismantled all hopes and dreams of the LPL. All of them, but one. Weibo Gaming is still standing. They were doubted at every turn. Now, Xiaohu could finally do it. The Shy and Crisp second World Championship. And this team could follow in the underdog footsteps of none other than DRX last year. Can Weibo stun the world once again and bring the LPL another title?
Opening dulu atau main
Opening dulu harusnya.
Kan New Jeans buff.
New Jeans buff dulu kan harusnya masa terakhir.
No matter your story, no matter your achievements, all
tournament
today is the only day that matters.
Apakah akan keluar naga dari mulut?
Perusahaan musik itu dari Illuvium.
Oh, opening ceremony katanya. Oh. Kalian tuh.
Nyanyi weh itu. Langsung munculnya.
Everywhere.
3 detik serasa lama.
Asli.
Bangga logo Riot.
Oh.
Langsung lagi bukan kaleng-kaleng anjir.
Iya anjir. Itu play, bang, bangun bang.
Backsoundnya kayak di instrumentalnya pak. Oh, itu sniper die. Kirain emang jadi tongkat Sunggokong di tawaran aja.
Anjay.
Jing.
Kalau duluan beberapa detik sih. Padahal nontonnya sama. Nonton di Twitch di YouTube. Zen.
Udah nonton sendiri anjir rapnya. Di YouTube.
Oh.
Oh, pantas. Kok cepat duluan aja? Oh, ini Fanny ya? Fanny.
Keren transisinya.
Anjir, Gatot kaca.
Ados. Oh, di panggung. Anjir keren coba transisi.
Anjir emang boleh kayak gitu. Keren banget, Cok.
Oh, ini keren.
Wah, anjir keren banget.
Oh.
Anjir.
Oh, yang tadi.
Curang kalian duluan beberapa detik anjir.
EDA. Oh, hot seal. Tapi denger kayak GDA awalnya anjir.
Psychoji.
Psychoji.
Beh. Yun.
Hajik.
Cik, keren.
Widih.
Itu lip sync ya, Bang. Reset.
Wanna kiss me long goodnight with a rose, hoping that the Eiffel falls. Of course, you don't understand the life we chose. Need my silence, my privacy, so I can hear. And even rock stars got feelings that they feel. In reality, this just repeats like a drill. Always a heart, a heart.
Anjir. Anjir.
Wah.
Keren ininya anjir. Kata panggung dari dulu gini wae anjir. Riot game.
Gitu ya.
Anjay.
Yang dua
Phoenix
laginya
nyanyi.
Iya.
Phoenix
Dua
nyanyi.
laginya penulis sama DJ-nya anjir.
Kayak ikutan.
Harusnya sekarang kasih.
Ini latarnya nih.
Gua kayak mau nyanyi tuh kan. Itu oh enggak anjir. Ini judulnya lupa
Oh bukan ini. Kok kayak telat gitu ya?
Oh.
Wah gila.
Oh Rise gitu.
Oh.
Penontonnya digeprek.
Nonton tergeprek.
Lagu-lagunya sama nih kunci-kuncinya kayak.
Tapi vibes-nya beda ya.
Ya.
Beliau seperti superhero. Dia merasa.
Kalau dia gagal gimana tuh?
Nah, cowok.
Ya.
Ini yang ditunggu-tunggu.
Ini dia guys, yang kita tunggu-tunggu guys.
Si Ayang.
Gila, Ayang gue cakep banget.
Nah, si Ayang.
Ayang.
Ayang Hein. Umur adalah angka.
Umur hanyalah angka. Kali. Ya, Daniel, oh my god, Ayang Daniel.
Wah, anjing banyak yang nonton.
Ah sih, itu stadion ya. Ayang, oh
wah,
ya Ayang.
Si jaket kuning.
Ya anjing. Kata berekan tameng na situ. Cekal tameng na. Melak.
Awas. Mulai tayang. Hanya.
Woi di.
Totalitas saya reactingnya.
Di ulti.
Ulti.
Ayang.
Aduh.
Weibo Gaming. Nyujin.
Tuh lihat ketawa-ketawa aja. Gila loh, itu disimpannya di bawah itu. PC dan lain-lainnya. Di bawah panggung.
Weibo, wah. Chinese berarti Cina.
Wah si jaket kuning hoki. Tinggal nyari fancam aja nih nanti Pinterest.
Ya udah 3 menit doang.
Ya cepet banget. Lagi dong.
Harusnya kayak dia tampil anjir.
Ya lumayan. Nah, cepet banget. Udah guys, terima kasih. Kita stream cuma mau nonton ini ya dong. Openingnya dong. Opening ceremony.
상하이까지
22
전 세계
teams
22개
battle
팀들이
and
멋진 대결을 펼쳤고 이제 단 두 팀만이 남았습니다. 웨이버
E1
웨이보.
그리고 T1
오.
이 두 팀들은 자신의 가치를 증명했고 하지만 월드 챔피언의 자리는 단 하나. 오늘 그 자리를 가리는 대결을 시작합니다. 선수를 소개합니다. 큰 박수로 맞아주시기 바랍니다. 먼저 웨이버 게이밍의 탑라이너 슈퍼캐리의 대명사, 그리고 이에 맞서는 T1의 탑라이너 국대탑 T1의 아시안게임 금메달리스트 더 샤이 제우스.
Anjay, top laner. Bombastic kayaknya.
Bombastic.
Rame langsung. Oh.
이번 월드 폼 정말 미쳤다. 자 바로 웨이웨이와
Mungkin kan Newjeans ngebawain lagu Guts doang anjir.
Iya anjir. Mahal-mahal gitu dong.
Harusnya di akhir ada lagi.
웨이버 게이밍의 바텀 라이너
Ah, Weiwei belum tidur itu mah fix yakin aja.
뽐내는 그저 빛. 이에 맞서는 선수는 월즈가 체질 전어보다 더 가을이 제철인 T1의 하드 캐리 바로 라이트
Kumayusi Light.
Kumayusi. Mana midlaner kita deh.
월드 챔피언의 기억을 되살리자 2019 월드 우승 서포터, 그리고 이에 맞서는 선수는 정말 소환사컵이 간절합니다. 갓지 그 자체가 되고 싶은 역전괴 바로 크리스피와 캐리합니다.
Korea. Nah. Butuh buff New Jeans ya, Korea.
끝으로 두 포지션에서 국제적 우승 기록을 세운 전설의 웨이버 게이밍의 미드라이너.
Ah, Faker.
그의 상대는 모든 길은 나를 통해서야만 갈 수 있다. 리빙 레전드 언킬러블 데몬 킹 샤오와 페이커입니다.
Siapa?
자, 이제 이 10명의 선수들은 최후의 결전만을 남겨두고 있습니다. 그리고 소환사 컵까지는 이제 단 한 걸음만 남았을 뿐입니다. Let the finals begin. 2019 LOL 월드 챔피언십 웨이버 게이밍 대 T1의 대망의 결승전을 함께 해주시는 많은 분들의 뜨거운 환호 함성과 함께 시작!
Kapan ML bisa gini ya? ML bisa gini keren sih.
I don't.
끝이 다가왔습니다.
Oh, udah nikah itu mah.
이무기. 용이 되기 위해 1000년 동안 기다려온 뱀과 용 사이의 동물을 이무기라 부릅니다. 오랜 수련 후 여의주를 얻어야만 비로소 승천한다고 하죠. 어떻게 보면 선수들의 여정을 말하는 것 같습니다.
저는 어렸을 때부터 게임을 워낙 좋아했어서 되게 많은 게임들을 했었는데 리그 오브 레전드가 이제 한국에 출시된다는 소식을 듣고 그때부터 시작했던 것 같습니다.
어렸을 때 사촌 형이 리그 오브 레전드를 해서 같이 해봤던 것 같아요. 선수로 처음 데뷔를 하게 되었을 때 되게 설렜고 기다려왔던 기회가 와가지고 살면서 좀 가장 기뻤던 순간이었던 것 같습니다. 중국에 스카우트 J가 들어왔어요. IJ 갔는데 루키 선수가 있었어요. 근데 제가 좋아하는 선수였어요. 근데 같은 팀을 할 수 있는 기회가 있어서 한번 해보자, 재밌겠다라는 생각으로 한 것 같습니다.
就是自己本身就跟其他队伍的选手比起来，可能那个时候自己是没有进步的。
那这次的世界赛，大家对他的一个期望，我相信一定不低。
작년 월드 경기가 끝났을 때 헤드셋을 벗은 순간부터는 뭔가 온몸이 통제가 안 되더라고요. 이제 이런 좋은 기회도 놓친 내가 다음에 이런 기회를 또 잡고 우승을 할 수 있을까라는 생각이 많이 들었던 것 같아서 그게 많이 분하고 힘들었던 것 같습니다.
每一场比赛失利后的感受，更多还是自己很多方面没有做好吧。可能这个时候会想着下一场比赛会做好，但下一场比赛还是会有做不好的时候。这个时间点肯定会质疑自己。
Bareng bawa air dulu.
아무리 힘들어도
Semangat.
그들은 포기하지 않았습니다. 꿈이 있기 때문이죠.
10년의 기간, 처음 롤을 시작했을 땐 미래에 대해 생각하기엔 너무 어렸던 것 같습니다.
그들의 오랜 노력에 끝자락이 보입니다. T1 대 웨이보.
凛冬将至，是时候捧起全球总
秀
奖杯了。
첫 번째 우승은 승리가 어떤 의미인지 제대로 이해할 만큼 성숙하지 못했던 것 같습니다. 두 번째 우승은 단 하나도 놓치지 않고 즐기겠습니다.
세 번째 우승은 저 자신을 위한 거였습니다. 네 번째 우승은 우리 팀을 위한 것입니다.
한 팀만이 전설이 됩니다.
Anjay.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the caster desk for the World Final 2023. First, I want to say thank you to Caster John for the incredible introduction, as well as MasterCard and everyone behind. What an extraordinary opening ceremony. And I am joined by the glorious Azael and Chronicler to bring you this final, and we are already into Champions Select. Gentlemen, you're not even able to say hello. Let's go through these bands.
Hello, let's get into it. I have got chills all over my entire body after that opening.
I know.
Just incredible stuff. But this is going to be so exciting. Game 1, Weibo have selected blue side, and we have to see what they can get done with it. T1 absolutely a terror on red side throughout this event.
And one of the big questions coming in was, what is Weibo's plan going to be in game number 1? Seeing that they are the underdogs, we have our answer. 100% Fakers playing a different champion this time around.
This was such a discussion point of would mid lane be that focus? Maokai left available, but you have to know Rel is available for owner, and he has been stellar on it. There's a lot of options here. Bot lane focus could be big as well, and they're going to do it right away.
And this is the thing, the Kalista has been such incredible priority. It was something actually used against T1 in the JDG series, and I think Renata Glask is the most important champion for this series as a whole. Crisp, incredible on the champion. Carrier, of course, debuting it in their very first game in the Swiss stage at Worlds. So this is very important, especially to see what the rest of Weibo's plan is.
Johnny, oh my god.
Not only does it deny Crisp, we've also seen Carrier himself be extremely successful on this. Carrier Renata, Renata, Kalista rather, incredibly hard to deal with. It will be the Shy going back to the Aatrox, which has been the main blind pick, but Zeus immediately
Faker pakai Yone. Davix menang.
playing the Jace, meaning we get that Maokai Jace combo that has terrorized the Rift all year.
Yeah, this is going to be incredibly exciting. Getting the Yone here in the finals. T1 getting spicy already.
And now is it actually the Yone for Zeus?
Faker udah pakai Yone udah.
Because Faker has played, I believe he celebrated his 70th unique champion this year. People have been talking about Faker's champion pool. It's a really interesting topic, right? Because we don't know how much he's been practicing recently, but I think he's played the most champions professionally out of any other person on the planet.
Exactly. I mean, this guy is the consummate professional. He's such a grinder. He's been back from his injury quite some time, so you have to give him that respect that he can play everything. It is going to be such a focus down towards bot lane, though, now. As T1 are the ones blinding their bot lane, they're going to be banning away the Varus, the Ashe, two of those really highly prized picks. Crisp has been playing more of the enchanters, though. He's moved towards things like Lux and Heimer when Renata was gone. So I'm going to be interested to see where he actually takes us.
I'm also really big fan of the bans here from Weibo, because we now have, I think, Owner's best champions all gone. The Rel and the J4 at the front, but his Sejuani also was quite strong, and taking that away might put Owner in a tough situation, and he has been the player that improved so much throughout, or rather from summer to the World Championship, putting him in a difficult position. Could be a big win, as it is the Ahri for Faker.
So Faker's Ahri coming out, and it does immediately make you think, could it be a Vi as that last pick? You know, the Vi Ahri pairing has been so popular throughout the year. There's also an angle to play like a Poppy or something like that if we get more dash-style champions coming out from Weibo. But it's going to be Senna TK just trying to neutralize this bottom lane here. And we'll see how well it's going to do.
Yeah, this is something that a lot of people have been talking about as well. The fact that Light and Crisp can go back to this style, we've seen already that they can play it to great effect. We'll see what the answer is going to be, though. Hard engage into the Tahm Kench is something that can be a little bit difficult if it is single target. So maybe not the Vi here, and maybe it could be the Poppy for Owner. We'll see where he decides to go.
I feel like Wukong could actually be a pretty good answer.
Lee Sin! Okay. All right. Well, that is definitely a choice you can make in game number 1. Of course, this is Owner's most famous champion by a country mile.
And something that for T1 was a really big surprise for me was that when you look at the way that they beat JDG, it wasn't just with these style of comps. They actually opted into more team fighting. This time around, though, this comp needs to win.
Ternyata bukan Faker.
Guma and carry out, they need to start stacking dragons, they need to get ahead early, because if you get to the mid to late game, look at the front to back on Weibo, right? This is a composition that's really hard to engage into, and if T1 ever lose map control, trying to get onto Maokai, trying to take their individual targets against the Kench is going to be extremely difficult.
And when you're second to those objectives, with Maokai saplings in every brush, you're going to be getting poked out by the Jace, which could be difficult, but both teams lacking a little bit as far as the hard engage goes, but T1 does have the ability to pick people off, with the Lee Sin, with the Yone, with the Ahri. They want to be moving around the map, they want to be pushing out lanes, catching people in transitions, taking these skirmishes as often as they can, and we are just moments away from getting onto the Rift.
Exactly, game number 1 is upon us. Of course, T1, a lot of finesse possibilities with a composition like this, but I look at Weibo's draft and I think we've seen these styles of draft so many times in the past, staying tried and true as we head onto the Rift for our very first game. T1 coming out swinging, and Weibo, I think, ready to pick up that punch. See exactly how it is going to go. Worlds 2023, game number 1. Let's do it.
And already, I've got to point out, it's triple TP for Weibo. Crisp is going to be taking the TP on that Tom Kench, so feeling that they can't necessarily get pressured heavily enough to actually get killed. If he feels he's going to get chunked out, hey, you TP back early, you keep up that farm as much as you possibly can, but it's going to give you the advantage in playing that map because they will have that extra teleport come mid and late game.
Another thing here is, what is the level 1 going to be? I think that one of the other really underrated parts of the Senna Kench is how strong their level 1 is.
Exactly right, but just a reminder to connect your League of Legends account with Prime Gaming to grab the exclusive Braum W emote. And if you haven't done it already, my goodness, I mean, just do it. Just do it now. That'd be fantastic.
It's a really good emote. Yeah. And you saw there as well, no opportunity, unfortunately, for
Minions.
Weibo to use it, at least for now, although late invade might come through, but I do think that the level 1 of Weibo is so strong, and they're clearly expecting this. So T1, I think, very smart not to up into
Kamera playernya jelek banget ya.
take the risk in game 1 of the finals.
And they were pretty good at utilizing
Blur.
in that level 1 play if we remember back to it as well. So certainly no shenanigans this time around. And I think in a game number 1,
Main.
Faker on his 4th unique champion here for Worlds in game number 1 of the final, but of course Ahri is one that he's been famous for many years.
And I think there's going to be so many eyes on the mid lane because Xiaohu has not been performing to the level that people were hoping for from him. He hasn't been having that incredible tournament, but now here, his first ever World Finals, he's got to step up if it's going to be Weibo win.
Exactly. Well, Piercing Darkness coming through there from Light. Not too much, just a little bit of a tussle, a little bit of checking each other on the bottom side of the map. As Faker now trying to push forward, Xiaohu just having an okay time here as the Jace into the Ahri.
And we'll see if we're going to see, and rather where we're going
Nggak pakai Arsteel anjir.
I think for T1, obviously, self-explanatory, Dragons and Heralds are incredibly important to pick up early, but there is an opportunity to try and go for these aggressive plays. I think Weiwei in particular has been really good about consistently finding bot line angles, although he is currently pathing towards bot. We'll see how T1 can cover for Zeus, because he is already shoving in, and if you can get an early kill on the Yone, can really send him behind.
Well, an Owner's going to use the fade, right? He's going to win this duel.
Everyone.
So he's just going to get right in his face, push him out. He knows he has that pushing.
Aduh, udah kena.
And we'll see how this fight does go.
Yeah, nice little sidestep there to avoid the Sonic Wave. Weiwei just making sure that he can keep that health bar high. Has actually popped the potion there as well. It's the sapling in the brush. His owner's just looking to try and wreak havoc.
But look at Zeus. Zeus is already moving down. That's why he starts the camp now, because Zeus got the push in. He's going to come down, so Weiwei's going to have to back off. He could look for the 50-50, but he risks putting himself in danger. So it should be Owner grabbing the Wolf, and they can continue this pressure on. You can look towards mid now, as Xiaohu's in trouble.
Yeah, Owner immediately moves over. There's the flash of Q's going to
kena tuh.
to not go in under the inner turret, and Xiaohu looks to try and fire back.
This is just great stuff early on here from T1. Owner, 3 camps top, moves into the enemy jungle to cover Zeus on the push, then uses Zeus' pressure to move down, steal the Wolves, rotates over towards mid where Faker has that, now into a bot side scuttle. This is really clean, really well pre-planned play here from T1.
And I'm going to be looking towards how are the junglers able to punish the lack of...
Mati Faker.
Lari.
Mati.
And I haven't even finished my sentence, or Weiwei does that exact thing. Punish punishes Faker for being that far up in the lane, and all they gave up for it was a wolf camp.
And we said Xiaohu had to have a good series, had to have a good game, and what better start than a first blood on the Spring King from the LPL in his first World Finals.
And you mentioned it already, Chronicler. Xiaohu is a guy that's had a lot of attention from a lot of fans and already starting to silence some of those doubts. But it is very, very early days in this one as we check out the replay. Really good pathing here from Weiwei.
Yeah, this is just great from Weiwei. It just wraps around.
Kenapa Black?
Topside scuttle, and I think Faker potentially thought he was actually over on it. Just comes right down, pass immediately there. Is not
Udah streamnya dulu. Set ya, datang ke sini.
If you think back to the spring final or summer finals rather, that T1 wasn't able to win. It was in large part because Genji identified if you get Faker off of some of his comfort champions and you put him down early by a lot of repeated jungle attention, it can be a viable way to
Ini apa sih?
early to mid game lead against T1. We've seen that they can strike.
Yang dipakai Xiaohu?
Particularly with draft like this, you need to win. You can't try and kind of go through the middle, you know, maybe pick up a dragon or two. No, you need to be able to dominate from the get-go.
And Ari Pre-6 is one of those champions that you really can take advantage of. You know, that is why Azir was so key for T1 in their playoff run. And Weiwei, it's interesting to note that it was that first gank in towards mid. You know, he has been so heavily prioritizing these bot-side ganks throughout Worlds. In the LPL, it was much more about playing towards the Shy, but at Worlds, it has been about playing towards Crisp, playing towards Light. And I really wanted to see what his game plan was going to be coming into Worlds, because clearly T1 would be prepped for that.
Well, and they're going to clear out some vision. As you can see, Control Ward in the Drake pit. First one going to be a Chemtech Drake. And Ona is going to very happily join Carrier as they look to take this one down. So at about 6 minutes into the game, we will have our very first dragon. Faker coming on over, not going to be able to steal anything away. Just getting some information here for T1. They will be able to secure this dragon. So that is one of the steps that they have taken here. Still, they're going to need those big advantages like you guys were talking about in order to make this one work. Looking here towards the bottom side, Gumayushi has a huge advantage over the time bench, but something that you would expect. It's not necessarily a lane you can really judge on CS.
I mean, you can see it in both top and bot lane, though. You know, these CS differences, obviously, is the top Genshin versus that Kalista, not comparing it with the Senna. But both top and bot, significant CS advantages already here for T1. Mid, slightly...
Harusnya Faker yang pakai ini.
They are outfarming.
Yone.
That's why they're still up this slight amount of gold despite giving up that first blood.
And this is something Weibo was also able to do. The Shy, specifically against Bin, was able to use the fact that the matchup was isolated to push really heavily for big CS leads and then take those leads into mid-game fights and carry them.
And when we talk about comps that are relying on these early game advantages, one of the ways you can do it is just by stacking dragons. You're playing Kalista, you're going to have bot side pressure. Even if you can't establish a massive gold lead, if you take these early dragons and put the pressure of that soul on your opponents, you circumvent a lot of the weaknesses in hard engage that your composition has. You draw your opponents to you, you force them to challenge you at these dragons where you are going to be set up for that fight, where you are going to be in the advantage.
Well, right now, it is just a bit of trading in lanes. Weiwei going to go home, collect himself a book and a control ward, try to get back to it as Crisp, the tongue lash. It hurts a whole lot more, I feel like, when you've got him sitting in a lane by himself for quite some time, but he's actually still just level 5, same as everybody else. And Gumayushi still playing aggressively, not able to land too many of these pierces as Zeus' soul is relatively unbound as he just keeps shoving these waves relentlessly into the Shy's turret. First plate has gone down already here for T1, like you were mentioning, as they are playing into the advantages in gold that is now ticked up to about 500.
And my expectation is that T1 is going to use this top lane prio to secure Herald without too much difficulty. Faker almost will have his flash available. Xiaohu already has his. But with this Aatrox being perma pushed in, it should make the setup for T1 around this objective pretty easy. And they have also already rotated Gumayushi and Carrier. So they're going to secure this. Then my question becomes, where are they going to throw it down? Because the two obvious solutions to me would be either Zeus or Guma. Obviously, Guma already massively far ahead, but a Yone in a side lane, I think is one of the biggest things that Weibo might not be able to answer.
I agree completely. I think it should go towards Zeus. He already has the push. This is one of these hyper-scaling top laners that he already has the early push. You can harass those towers, harass the Aatrox with the Soul Unbound, and you get him that big gold lead. This guy can make miracles happen in a 5v5. Zeus has been simply incredible throughout the World Championship.
Nice.
Certainly has. And now Faker is going to dash in, finds the charm under the tom.
Oh, nice.
Satu menawar.
Mati itu. Nice.
Dua kill.
Nggak dapat. Wah, gila.
They see that T1 is at the Herald, they rotate over, and I think they try to recuperate, but that's sunken cost fallacy because they just walk up, T1 finds the angle.
Mereka MM-nya siapa sih? Karya ya?
Hai, situ.
Aduh, Yone mati.
Duh.
Nggak ada skill 3 ya?
Potentially threatening as Guma and Kalian are going to push it in. Already have taken a plate themselves down there, but great kill back on the top side does help to equalize the gold there for the Shy.
Yeah, gold now actually completely fine. The Shy might even be able to pick up plate as well, and crucially, Zayas doesn't have TP, so actually is going to lose out on this wave. Unlike Faker when he was ganked earlier, could just TP back to the lane. Not going to be the case here. And that's the second time that Weibo, the initial play might not work, but Weiwei pulls it back.
Exactly, and Zayas just couldn't use that ultimate quite fast enough, you know, so Weiwei was able to get ahead of him, blocks the ulti, and then from that point, Zayas says, you know what, I'm dead either way, so I'm going to hold on to the flash, but that is an unfortunate death for him as he had so much pressure on top side, so much tempo, and a lot of that is going to be lost now, but not lost in the mid lane where Faker has continued to push in, continued this relentless aggression here despite being that first death.
Yep. Even though he did fall down first up, Faker is pretty good at bouncing back from initial deaths. The global taunt that he's had for the last 10 years seems to be the thing.
The most ganked man of all time.
I think it's probably true, but also he's played like the most games out of anyone else that still plays currently. So it's a weird stat to go towards. Bottom side of the map, we do see a reset coming through here for Kabushi and Keria. Not quite towards the first item yet for the Kalista, which would be pretty important for the next fight coming up. See what they can get for themselves.
Yeah, you see as well already, Weibo is moving up. The second Drake I think is really pivotal. There are a lot of good tricks still available for T1. No Camtech Dragon in particular.
We know exactly what Drake is going to be. It's T1.
It's Cloud.
It's got to be the Cloud. They've got the most clouds out of any other team at Worlds.
You don't want him to have Cloud Soul, particularly not with the amount of mobility on the team. So I think that Weibo is going to try and contest here, but T1 still are the ones with control of their pot side. Prio is now being found by Light and Chris. Herald being placed down just in mid lane to try and pressure Weibo out and get a quick move into the river.
It's going to mean that dragon should belong to T1 if they can get control with it. Faker sticking around for the cash. They will be able to gather it here. Orb of Deception going to go wide, and it looks like Faker's not going to stick around for another plate. As Weiwei going for a reset, they're going to give up the second Drake as well.
Yeah, I think there's just no real angle for them to contest from this point. Owner drops Herald mid, they get Prio there, they reestablish Prio down on that bot side, move up through the river. And with Keria and Guma at such a strong point early on in the game, it is going to be Cloud Soul.
Yeah, it's not a question mark. I did tell you.
Jungle-nya sih dapat ya.
Pose a question.
Well, Atlas, I always want to believe that you're right about dragons. And in case of clouds, I gotta say, you often are.
Yeah, and do you know who was actually the one that told me that my love of clouds was actually okay? It was Azale. As Crisp is taking some damage here towards the bottom side. It's all right.
I've always been a Cloud believer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Move speed turns out pretty good.
It's a pretty good stat. And Zayas not going to, he's actually going to utilize some move speed to move out of the Infernal Chains. Look at
nice
that.
Transition.
Proving your point immediately, Azale. You love to see it. Owner is here though. It's going to be a 2v2. Zayas taking a bit of damage as the Q comes down. There's the ulti. Nature's Grasp, but look at it.
Dapat tuh. Dapat. What? Wajay. Anjir. Ini turnamen ML di mana, Bang? Ini turnamen ML di Riot. Bukan di Nonton. Nonton udah dijual sekarang. ML jadi pindah Riot.
Ya.
Kita streamnya sampai game yang ini habis. Oke, karena niatnya cuma pengen nonton Eugene. Enggak, karena laptopnya tidak kuat kalau lama-lama, ya guys. Sampai game ini habis.
think that T1, particularly with the dragon stacking, is necessarily in grave danger, but this means that the gold stays on parity, that Weibo still gets to scale into that mid to late game, where it can be incredibly impressive to interest. The Shy might be getting ganked.
Oh, mati sih ini di game. Harusnya ya. Oh, nice. Lee Sin sakit banget ya. Ico. Coba apa GS Lee Sin? GS ya? Oh, mati lagi tuh. Jangan mati tuh. Gak mati anjir si Weiwei. Sumpah si Weiwei dari tadi gak mati-mati coy. Gila Weiwei jago bejir.
And continuously they are getting out-skirmished. Weiwei should be able to get the execute here. So nothing given up. And Weibo walk away victorious again.
Weiwei has just had such an incredible
si Weiwei sumpil.
This guy first starting on V5, came in with them, played with BLG, and since joining, Weibo has made such a difference with this team, has really transformed the team, has such good pressure in the early stages, and him getting going early always spells good things for this team.
Certainly does. Let's have a look at the play one more time.
And as we look here, initially it looks like T1 wants to back up, but Weiwei goes very far back. And crucially, barely stays alive, right? And with him getting away, there is no bailout value for all.
Lee Sin yang mati.
Faker TP's in doesn't matter because Crisp is standing at the ready with Devour.
Yeah, Crisp is there and Light with some nice little side steps. Don't think the charm would have mattered even if it landed because Crisp was right behind him, but well played on the side. Continually going towards these objectives. They know they need to keep pushing the pace, and Weibo here looking to challenge.
And nice shock blast is going to soften up T1 just a little bit here. 4 versus 3 in this moment, but Faker's wrapping around from the top side of the fight. The Shy pretty far away from this one, and Zeus is moving in, gets over the wall. There's the ult. It's going to be dodged as he gets himself out of there with the unbound soul. And T1, they are going to be able to secure the Herald.
Forces the flash from Light, and they get the Herald. Really nicely done from T1. That is what has been going their way all game long.
And now I'm wondering, can T1 also get themselves to this Dragon in time? I think they just have enough time to still get the backs in, make their way, spend their money, and then try and set up this soul point very early on. Because while when it comes to gold, Weibo has been able to stay very relevant. If T1 pick this up, they will have gotten every single objective thus far, and it will at the very least force Weibo to maybe make some tough decisions once Zeus in the sideline becomes hard to deal with, because I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up going for Hullbreaker again.
And this is such an early soul point that they will be moving to. Their third dragon here taken, if they can get it, around 17 and a half minutes into the game. Threatening that 22, 23 minute soul would be a really tough spot here for Weibo. So they have to get mid lane control. They have to be able to push this out, then move into the river. They want to be first to the scene. You can see Weiwei trying to keep these saplings down and harass T1 as they try to move in. But in the bot lane, it's Zeus with the push there. And if he can get Pryo down on that bot side, they can potentially set up a flank from multiple angles.
Yep, Owner should be able to put the Herald down here as well to help them get that mid control, get towards that dragon. But you can see Weibo don't want to give up the river right now. Weiwei just standing stalwart.
Weiwei.
Charm is going to connect, but Faker probably not wanting to go in on that one. You're going to connect from Owner and T1 just keeping up this pressure, allowing Weibo to move into that river, knowing they have Zeus very close to that bottom wave to keep pressure in the lane.
Exactly, Zeus threatened moving up. He went, just did the gromp. Now he's down back towards that bottom lane, pushing that out. So forcing the response from the Shy. T1 are happy in this stalemate position right now. They still have the Herald to work with, so if Weibo overcommit towards the Dragon, they can just drop Herald mid and guarantee that tier 1.
Carrier is going to miss the handshake, but the Q's going to land from Owner. Weiwei could have...
Bro, nggak ada teman.
Owner not going to go in as the Everfrost, he gets the
dimakan.
Getting himself out of there and utilizing his ultimate to save Carrier as well, but that is so many cooldowns, and now Weibo have started up the Drake.
Weibo might be looking to go for it. They've also used a number of cooldowns themselves, most notably the Shy and Weibo.
No, naganya bang.
T1 tries to go for an alternative play, just push mid, but it looks like Weibo isn't even going to give them the opportunity. As
Oh. Aduh, mati. Ah. Itu bisa war. Woi, anjay, Faker Mau Faker, T1.
Weibo get the dragon, but T1 get the kill. Shahu lucky to get out of that one, but he's
Fix kan menang kata gue juga T1. Love New Jeans.
So we'll see whether they can grab that next one and keep this level of pressure up, because 2.3 thousand gold, is that enough of a lead for this early game composition?
And there is a reason why Owners Lee has been feared. And the funniest part to me is this play doesn't even matter, because Shao actually is able to walk it off. Another miraculous survival. Faker doesn't get the chase because of Crisp, but then it's Zeus who got put down in lane that makes the hero play.
Exactly, comes in on the other side. There's no Devour because Crisp was over saving his mid laner, trying to defend there, so Light is left vulnerable, and Light is punished big time. T1 getting that major gold injection in, and you can see a lot of these towers that they've been pressing. If you look on live, Faker taking down that top tier 1, a lot of these turrets have been getting lower and lower from this T1 lane dominance.
Yeah, you can see there's a lot of relief on Tom's face there as well. Hoping that T1 can get this mid-game sorted out. Owner stealing away some Raptors. Full vision given over to Weibo. 3.5 minutes on the clock when it comes to the Drake, as in goes Zeus. Xiaohu just boops him away, and Owner is going to come through as well. Xiaohu in still a lot of trouble. Safeguard comes in. Xiaohu moving away from the Lee Sin to the skies, comes down. The Devourer is there. It was Crisp coming forward, and he saves his mid laner, but that is a lot invested.
That's the problem, is that even though Xiao makes it out alive, Crisp uses TP, and they're not even going to be able to save the turret. So even though Zeus isn't able to actually clip Xiao, who he sidesteps the ultimate, it's still a big win, and the Hull Breaker is in fact done, and it makes him such a menace in the side lane.
Exactly, it's incredibly difficult to deal with him. They become incredibly tanky, and one of the most underrated parts about this is how tanky it actually makes the cannon minions. They become very difficult to actually wave clear out. It allows you to harass your opponent, but Guma
could be in a bit of trouble here.
Mati.
Crisp looks for it. The immediate cleanse does get out of the way. Nature's Grasp isn't going to connect.
Guma mati, Guma. Enggak anjir, Guma gak mati. Anjir, Guma gak mati. Satu lagi si Chris. Wah, gila. Oh. Ejet.
T1, the goal before this was even Weibo picked up the dragon, but after this fight, multiple kills going over the T1. Bareng secured, and it looks like the first grade might have been broken open. The early game comp getting it done.
And here is the replay. We'll see how it all started. It looked like a pick on Gumayushi.
It did, but it just took them so long to actually get to him. You can see everyone from T1 is coming as fast as they possibly can, and all the time that was bought here by Guma allows them to arrive, allows the hostile takeover here, hitting across multiple members. Light is forced to even flash out, just trying to avoid it, but Owner knocks him down. Guma dances out, using that ultimate with Carrier's help to peel him off.
And we're seeing one of the big issues with the Senna is that if you're playing a front to back, Senna feels almost impossible to deal with. Particularly with Kench, it's really hard to take people down, to get through the front line. The kiteback's amazing, but if you get caught, particularly by something like a Lee, you don't get to play the game.
And also, they weren't playing front-to-back League of Legends. It was a split fight entirely, with the fact that the Shy goes in, is in the middle, and it felt fantastic, right? It was a bit of a split there from Weibo with their decision-making moving forward. It could mean that they could adjust that moving into the next team fight and really show what this composition can do.
And the tough thing for Weibo is it felt like so many things did go well for them in the early stages. Those skirmishes were working for them, but when T1 hit way harder. And they've gotten so much out of these last couple plays. They're going to try to take a tier 1 top, but Faker's looking for an engaged bot.
Yeah, looking for even more. Everfrost is going to land. Somehow that charm didn't connect, but it is still going to gather a Devour from over the wall from Crisp. T1 will settle for this inner turret.
And this is where the earlier Drake from Weibo is going to feel like a miracle in the sky. Right? If they didn't have
miracle in the sky.
In addition to all the turrets that are there for T1, now Sure, they're not going to have the soul. You still have 5 minutes of time. It's not looking great, but at the very least, they'll have one more opportunity to try and get something going. My main issue is, particularly with Zeus now completely back in the game and sitting on a pretty ludicrous gold advantage, Free K in the sideline is going to be untouched.
I mean, even in the team play, he just finished an IE. He's got 3 full items now. The Shy just finishes Derek's second. And when you have the IE in, you can talk about not wanting team fight with a Hullbreaker, but when you've got an IE and a Kraken, you can one-hit the backline. This becomes incredibly hard to actually fight against this guy. So if T1 can execute on those 5v5s, as they have been doing all tournament long, we saw it showcased against JDG, against the world's best in that 5v5 stage, then it's going to be tough for Weibo. Look at Keria.
Yeah, Zeus dancing forward, but like you say, Keria lurking in the sidelines. Weibo just trying to deal with these minion waves, not wanting to give up more than they can afford to lose. T1 just going to gather themselves a little bit of extra standing gold in a turret. Not exactly the end of the world, but it's all just more money here for the coffers of T1. These shock blasts starting to land a little bit. Lands onto Faker there, but they're going to need more of those if they want to stop the pressure.
The shock blasts do hurt, but T1 is just playing so intelligently around this. They drop that pink ward mid. Zeus playing very far back because no one's answering top. You know, as T1, the only recourse in this game Weibo have is to overload one side of the map, get a 3v1, get a 2v1, get a pick kill, then attack the rest of the T1 squad. So until they show top, there's no reason for Zeus to walk up. He just plays it so far back, plays it calm, cool, and collected, and allows his team to get those incremental advantages up in top lane.
And this has now turned into an 8,000 gold lead. The Rebel Baron power play just kind of gigantic, given the fact that it was relatively close for a lot of this game. It's how T1 do really like to break open games, especially in the past when they were at their most dominant. Definitely a good sign if you are a T1 fan. And Weibo well and truly on the ropes here at this stage of the game.
And for Weibo now, you're going to either have to have someone on T1 overextend, like you were saying, Azil. I do think it has to be someone else, because killing Zeus when he is Flash, Hullbreaker, and IE is going to be such an incredibly difficult task. But then look at what the rest of T1 is doing. No one is actually segmenting themselves off from the rest. They're always working in tandem.
Exactly. You know you win the 4v4 and you win the 1v1, so as long as you have eyes on Weibo, you are chilling. You just have to make sure you're not getting poked out too heavily, as it's going to be up to Xiaohu.
Faker walking over the wall, wants to land that charm to start this fight potentially, but no. Weibo just back away, not wanting to take a fight unless it is far more within their favor and with more information. And that is a very difficult thing to gather here in this game. You talk about saplings, things like that, all these opportunities. If you can't walk out of your base, they don't do a whole lot of good.
It does get very difficult. At the very least, you can use that to clear out brushes, to move forward, try to reclaim some vision, as they're going to do now. Knowing that T1 is on the reset, they will try to deny some of this vision, but the death cap is going to be here soon for Faker. You can see the Wit's End can be pretty soon as well for Guma. These third items are going to be coming through when the GA comes in for Owner as well. T1 are just trying to get as prepared as possible for the Soul or for this Baron, where they are really going to look to dominate.
And really nicely done, shown by our observers here. Well, obviously they have a suspicion that T1 is going to be somewhere in the jungle and they can scout with saplings, but actually retaking control becomes incredibly difficult. And right now, it's still fine, but in 40 seconds, the Baron is coming up and Weibo will be faced with one of two choices. Either you just try to hard force your way in and like flash engage with Weiwei onto someone of T1, but if they don't give you that opportunity, you're gonna have to try and fight up a straight fight.
And one of the biggest problems with that is when you're approaching Baron from blue side, you're setting up for a perfect carry ultimate, right? You know, you all try to flash in, try to go for that engage. If you're trying to follow up on Weiwei's play, there's gonna be a hostile takeover coming through your entire team, so the difficulty is extremely high for Weibo from this position.
Also really difficult to lock down Zeus is if he's only trading with that Unbound Soul available. You can see Xiaohu comes down. That gives T1 the idea. There are two invested towards that bottom side. That pressure from Zeus pretty close
sakit banget.
in that moment.
And look at the item spikes. Wits End done for Guma. No death cap for Faker. GA for Owner. And on Weibo's side, 2 item power spikes have been hit, but don't know if that's going to be enough. Xiaohu, though, does have his Cyrildas done. Maybe that can give them the poke they need to contest this Baron, but it looks like it just isn't sticking.
I mean, it feels like it's just basically all up to Xiaohu from this position. He needs to be able to hit Shock Blast on key members that can't heal them up, which is basically just Faker.
Yeah, Owner going aggressive. There's the kick once again. Weiwei's going to flash to his advance to get himself back.
Bro, aduh.
Grasp as well as Owner's going to have to get out of there. Safeguard.
Ya, Owner, berani banget.
Not quite there with the damage. And T1, they tried something. They're not going to get any kills, but they get the flash from the jungler.
Owner's GA, right? He could play that aggressive knowing that he still has his GA available as, oh, he might have a flank here.
Oh, Carrier. Okay, looking for that angle is Xiaohu.
I think they might know.
Going to face check.
It's kelihatan.
Hop out of the brush. Not quite sneaky enough. The shock blast comes in eventually, but that is going to put enough fear into Weibo. And Zeus, yeah, like 3 hits this Cloud Drake. Yeah.
I mean, he is just going to kill that thing so fast. They're going to start Baron at the same time. They're just going to start it up. I think at this point, T1 feel that they can do everything at once. And Weibo, you've got to make a stand now. There's just no way from this position you can give up a free Baron.
Well, Weiwei is in the vicinity, but the rest of the team is still making their way over. The Shy does have teleport, but they have no information. They have no vision. This Baron is gone.
This can't walk up.
Udah fix menang.
Yeah, looking for the angle. It's not exactly behind Xiaohu, but he's pretty fast. As Xiaohu's going to avoid the charm for now. Shock Blast connects onto Faker there as well. He's still going to look for that reset angle, and now with the Baron buff in tow, T1 feel like they don't need a reset to try and break open the base of Weibo here in Game 1 of the finals. Nature's Grasp flying forward. Ona still has that GA. Remember, Chris going down so incredibly low. Zeus just executes the Shy off to the side, and there is another.
Oh, menang kan? Itu si Xiaohu bro, belakang bro. Nice. Nah, fix menang. Nyerah, suren. Gila, ejet game. Kamu boleh sih ejet gitu? Ada. Oke guys, terima kasih yang udah nonton. Kita kembali di stream selanjutnya. Oke, bye bye, Otsu guys. Bye bye.